Chapter 71. Black Snake, I originally came for you. However, you don't have any dragon blood in your body. Even if I devour you, it won't benefit me. Furthermore, I helped you get rid of this flood dragon snake. Shouldn't you be grateful to me? You actually dared to disturb me while I was eating. Could it be, you're tired of living? The dove serpent coldly looked at Lin Yuan, as if it was looking at a corpse. Your prey? Not necessarily. Lin Yuan shook his snake head. The cold light in his eyes reappeared. He used his mind to say, if you say so, then I can only stay by your side. When you're hunting, I'll give you a stab. Does that mean that you're my prey? How laughable. Lin Yuan didn't give the dove serpent any face. He also looked at the dove serpent, as if he was looking at a corpse. The dove serpent looked at Lin Yuan because even though it had lost a lot of its strength, it still had the combat strength of the wisdom realm. Even if its injuries would relapse if it fought for a long time, it wouldn't be difficult for it to kill a Class 10 demonic beast. However, Lin Yuan looked at the flood dragon snake as if he was really looking at a corpse. He didn't read many novels in his previous life. He only read a few system-type novels. The system in his body clearly had its own intelligence and calculations. It wasn't a simple artificial retard. Thus, this dove serpent offended the system. It was basically lying in a coffin, waiting for Lin Yuan to smash the nail into it. At this moment, Lin Yuan finally reacted. Why did the mutated blood spirit give 2 skills? It was all the F*King system's calculations. The blood sacrifice wishing technique allowed him to occupy the right time. Coupled with the blood boiling technique, which didn't have any side effects, it directly doubled his current strength. It was probably the trump card that the system prepared for him to deal with the dove serpent. Junior, I won't lower myself to your level. If you scram now, I can still let you go. Jiaoshi turned his head to look at the headless corpse of the Jiao snake on the ground, and a pained expression appeared in his eyes. There were many snake-type monsters in the Hengduan Mountains, but only a few of them had the blood of the dragon clan. Even such an incomplete Jiao snake was a rare delicacy for it. Now that the most delicious part of the snake had been destroyed by Lin Yuan, it was enough to make it want to tear Lin Yuan apart. However, Mendu was standing beside it after all. The strength of this mountain-shaking ape was extremely terrifying. Even if it was at its peak, it might not be able to defeat Mendu. I'm not leaving. I'll wait here. Lin Yuan glanced to the side, the coldness in his eyes growing colder. You're courting death. The dove snake angrily roared, and its 3 feet long black snake body violently swept over. Come. Lin Yuan roared in his heart. He activated the golden body secrets, and a dark golden luster began to appear on a small part of his skin. The group of level 9 monsters and wisdom state monsters, including Mendu, all showed an incredulous expression. They looked at Lin Yuan, who was advancing instead of retreating, and their mouths opened wider and wider. This black snake, was its head so hard? Going head-to-head with an wisdom state monster? Did it think that it was already in wisdom state monster just because it had condensed demon chi on its body? Boom. A loud sound reverberated. The black snake body abruptly stopped in mid-air, and Lin Yuan flew back 30 meters. His dark golden skin cracked inch by inch, revealing the black snake scales underneath. The skin that was not covered by the dark golden luster was torn apart, and the scales fell off. Large amounts of blood continued to pour out. Just as so. The dove snake sneered, as if it did not put Lin Yuan's resistance in its eyes. However, no matter how disdainful it appeared on the surface, the dove snake's heart was in a perilous situation. This guy was only a level 10 monster. Not only did it use its mind to communicate with other monsters, but its own strength was also very terrifying. Not to mention a monster that had just advanced to level 10. Even those monsters that had constantly trained themselves to reach the peak of level 10, or even those that were about to enter the wisdom state, might not be able to withstand its attack. Lin Yuan shook his swollen snake head, and without any hesitation, he pounced on the dove snake again. This guy's attack caused a terrifying damage of close to 100 points. Was an wisdom state monster really so terrifying? However, Lin Yuan had no intention of backing down. After all, if he failed this mission, even if his luck was not bad, his strength would be stuck at the level 10 monster level, and he would never be able to advance any further. Moreover, he had the support of the system, Baba. What was there to be afraid of? Although the system did not say anything, Lin Yuan discovered that when he was fighting with the dove snake, the pressure from the other party's bloodline had already dropped to a freezing point. It could even be ignored, and the pressure was not even as great as when the flood snake wanted to kill him. Obviously, this was due to the system's contribution. Blood boil technique. Lin Yuan's pair of blue-white vertical pupils were gradually dyed with a scarlet color. At the moment when the skill was activated, Lin Yuan even felt that his blood was burning. Host. Lin Yuan status. Big Black Snake can evolve. Realm. 10 out of 10 innate skills. 1. Distinguish the enemy's position by smell. Cannot evolve. 2. Create an accurate image of a 500-meter range by smell. 0/103. Water/ice control. 0/104. Blood sacrifice wish technique speed. 14 plus 15 defense. 23 plus 24 attack. 14 plus 15 distributable points. 0 martial arts. Golden body secrets. 55 out of 75 skills. 1. Death coil. 38 of 302. Poison enhancement. 2 out of 103. Tail strike. 19 out of 104. Blood boil technique. 1 out of 100. Item. Light feather chance to molt X1. The blood boil technique doubled his attributes. And in addition to the rainstorm, all of Lin Yuan's attributes had already exceeded 100 points, reaching an extremely terrifying level. Even some Wisdom Realm monsters might not have such terrifying attributes like Lin Yuan's. His 47 points of defense, coupled with the Golden Body Secret's damage immunity, and after Lin Yuan estimated the damage that the dove snake had done to him, his heart was filled with confidence. My 23 points of defense can make my scalp go numb. Then with my 47 points of defense, what can you do to me? Fuck. Even the dove snake, who had seen the world, could not help but curse in a low voice. What was wrong with this black snake? Other monsters were more afraid the stronger they got, and in the end, they would completely submit to the strong. Why did this black snake seem to be getting more and more excited? Could it be that his attacking posture was wrong? Thinking of this, Lin Yuan had already arrived in front of the dove snake. In the eyes of other monsters, his iron head fiercely slammed into the dove snake's body. Then boom. The scene exploded. The dove snake, who had just firmly held the upper hand, was directly sent flying by Lin Yuan's rocket head hammer, filled with confidence. Its 3 feet long body drew a long ditch in the ground, and it forcefully slid more than 50 meters before coming to a stop. Chapter 72. After all, the dove snake was a wisdom state monster. Even if it couldn't take down Lin Yuan, it was only surprised for a moment. A level 10 monster was a level 10 monster. Compared to a wisdom state monster, the difference was like heaven and earth. However, when Lin Yuan took the initiative to attack it, it suddenly realized that it was wrong. This black snake. There was definitely something wrong with it. Before it entered the Hengduan Mountains, it used its talent to possess several humans. After inquiring about it, it was certain that the black snake that Miss Lu had encountered was just a newly awakened demonic beast. In less than half a year, the black snake had transformed from a wild beast to a majestic level 10 demonic beast. This growth speed was unimaginable for others. However, after seeing this extraordinary black snake with its own eyes, the dove snake was once again disappointed. This was because it couldn't sense any dragon aura from this black snake. In other words, this black snake didn't have a trace of dragon blood in it. It was just an ordinary black snake. At this moment, all of the dove snake's deductions were overturned. Without waiting for the dove snake to adjust its posture, Lin Yuan's next attack had already landed. The 5 to 6 meter thick snake tail suddenly smashed down. It was as if a light hit could crush the 3 meter long dove snake into meat paste. The dove snake suddenly let out a roar that sounded like a dragon. The 3 meter long black snake body suddenly began to expand. Without waiting for Lin Yuan's snake tail to land, the dove snake had already turned into a huge black python that was close to 150 meters long. However, its head had turned into a golden dragon head. It looked completely out of place with its black python body. Ding. Congratulations to the host for activating the special quest, Kill the Pseudo-Dragon. Name: Kill the Pseudo-Dragon. Description: the dove snake is an extremely disgusting monster beast. The one in front of you failed to devour the mother dragon, and was severely injured by the mother dragon. It almost lost all of its cultivation in order to keep its life. It hid for many years before finally escaping the limelight. Now, it has begun to devour monsters with dragon bloodline, in an attempt to transform into a dragon. Host, please kill it as soon as possible. Reward: Dragon Clan Favorability Punishment. Nil. Seeing the activated quest, Lin Yuan's heart didn't waver. He even wanted to laugh in his heart. Here it comes. In the end, they still came. This petty system had come to nail the nail into Jioshi's coffin. The system was indeed powerful, but it couldn't influence anything out of thin air. Just like how it didn't know that the blood spirit had mutated when it first discovered it. Also, in the Monsters Pact mission, Bata was extremely important to the Crushed Stone tribe, and even the Mountain Quaking Apes, which was why it involved the friendship of the entire Mountain Quaking Apes. The reward for this special mission naturally wouldn't come out of nowhere. Perhaps there really was a mysterious existence among the monster beasts watching the battle nearby. Even if it was not a member of the Dragon Clan, it was likely that it had a deep relationship with the Dragon Clan. The dove serpent's body was entangled with Lin Yuan's snake body, and the two terrifying forces were constantly clashing against each other. Neither of them was willing to back down. Not only that, the two behemoths were entangled with each other, and kept rolling around. The nearby rocks and trees were all destroyed by the two of them. They were either turned into dust or shattered into pieces. This wasn't the end. The dove serpent and Lin Yuan were constantly coiling their upper bodies and tearing at each other. Almost every bite would bring out large chunks of flesh and blood. Then, under each other's hateful gazes, they would swallow each other's flesh and blood into their stomachs. Drops of rain turned into icicles, and they didn't differentiate between Lin Yuan and the dove serpent, constantly piercing the two behemoths. Clouds of blood exploded in the rain, and a tragic aura spread everywhere. This was a life and death battle between monster beasts. Even an existence like the dove serpent, who wanted to devour the Dragon Clan, couldn't avoid it. The dove serpent was risking its life because Lin Yuan, who was in the blood boil state, had attributes that were not inferior to ordinary intelligence realm monster beasts. With its current strength, it could barely fight on par with Lin Yuan, but it was still heavily injured and couldn't continue fighting with him. Otherwise, it would die an incomparably miserable death. Lin Yuan was also risking his life. Apart from him, no other creature could understand what kind of opportunity he would lose if he couldn't kill the dove serpent and swallow the Jiao serpent's corpse. How miserable would his future be? Gotcha! Following the crisp sound of bones cracking, the monster beasts in the surroundings all held their breaths. Neither the dove serpent nor Lin Yuan had any intention of holding back as they fought. At this moment, the two of them had practically stuffed their bodies into each other's bodies. Large amounts of blood and flesh fell to the ground, and one could even faintly see the beating of their internal organs and the eerie white bones that supported their bodies. What the hell are you? The dove serpent asked in despair. As time passed, it began to feel the pain of its old injuries, and its condition was far from being comparable to when it had just entered the battlefield. Moreover, it was getting weaker and weaker. Thus, at this moment, the dove serpent could almost see the god of death waving at it. However, Lin Yuan didn't have the time to pay attention to the dove serpent. He continued to tear apart the dove serpent's flesh and swallowed it into his stomach, constantly absorbing the energy from the flesh to repair his injuries. Yes, even in the blood boil state, Lin Yuan was still not the dove serpent's opponent. Thus, at this moment, the dove serpent still had the energy to speak, but Lin Yuan could do nothing but continue to numbly attack his opponent. Roar! Mendu suddenly roared in anger. A Wisdom Realm monster beast actually wanted to take advantage of the time when Lin Yuan was fighting with the dove serpent to snatch away the flood serpent's corpse. This was an existence that had a thin amount of dragon blood in its body. If it could completely devour it, the effect wouldn't be much worse than a spirit creature that had grown for hundreds of years. It might even awaken the bloodline in its body and return to its ancestral state. However, It forgot that although Lin Yuan and the dove serpent couldn't free themselves, Mendu was still guarding the flood serpent's corpse. Its pair of bright eyes stared unwaveringly at the other Wisdom Realm monster beasts. At this moment, Lin Yuan mustered all the strength in his body and took a final bite. This was his last bit of strength. If he could not kill this dove serpent, then he would not have the strength to continue fighting with this dove serpent. If this attack did not succeed, then he would die either way. However, what Lin Yuan didn't expect was that before his bite landed, the dove serpent's body suddenly stiffened and dissipated all of its aura. Ding! Congratulations to host for killing the Wisdom Realm monster beast, Dove Serpent. Reward: 5 attribute points. Ding! Congratulations to host for completing the special mission Killing the False Dragon. Reward: Dragon Clan's favorability. Chapter 73. Dead. Lin Yuan was stunned. Although he thought that the dove snake was faking its death, waiting for him to let down his guard and then attack him. But after thinking about it carefully, even the system had announced that the attribute points were in Lin Yuan's hands. No matter how cunning the dove snake was, it was impossible for it to fake its death in front of the system's omnipotent existence. Thus, Lin Yuan instantly relaxed. When he was fighting with the dove snake, the system notifications kept ringing in his ears. Until now, he did not even look at them. It was too tiring. However, Lin Yuan still forced himself to stay alert. Little by little, he pulled himself out of the dove snake's body. Twisting his broken body, he began to slowly approach the Jiao snake's body. The most important task had not been completed yet. He believed that Mendu, even if he fainted, would protect him. After all, he had the key to healing Batu. Perhaps Mendu was skeptical of him before, but he was able to level up twice in front of Mendu. Moreover, every time he leveled up, he was able to heal all of his injuries. This had already proven his methods. But he did not want to wake up to find the Jiao snake's body in the stomach of another monster. The system also announced that it was unbound from him. Pain, bitterness, all kinds of feelings rushed into Lin Yuan's mind like a tidal wave. For a moment, Lin Yuan's whole body felt numb. But he still slithered to the side of the Jiao snake's body and began to slowly devour the Jiao snake's body. There was no smell in his mouth, only the pungent smell of blood. Every time he swallowed, it was not only the Jiao snake's flesh, but also the minced meat and blood in his mouth. This was the most serious injury he had ever suffered since he received the system. Moreover, the system had not told him how to level up, so Lin Yuan did not have the second life, hidden method. Ding! Congratulations to the host for completing the first stage of the mission, Posture of the Owl Snake. Initiating the second stage of the mission. After that, Lin Yuan could no longer hear the system's announcement. He killed the dove snake, who had suddenly become extremely weak, and at the same time ate the Jiao snake's flesh. At this moment, he had lost all his obsession. Under the influence of the serious injury, he quickly lost all consciousness. 2 days later, Lin Yuan opened his eyes again. A trace of confusion flashed through his blue-white vertical pupils. He remembered that he had come to a beautiful place with verdant hills and limpid waters, and it was like spring all year round. There was always a thought in his heart that told him that as long as he was willing, he could stay in that beautiful place forever, and he would not have to worry about survival. However, he also remembered his tragic life in his previous life, and remembered the hatred and pain he had suffered. Therefore, he rejected that beautiful thought, and after that, he could not remember what had happened. However, he was certain that he was not in the area where he was fighting the dove serpent, nor was he in his own nest. When he was unconscious, he was dragged to a strange place by other demonic beasts. F***ck. Don't tell me you're treating me as your food reserve? Lin Yuan subconsciously wanted to jump up, but the pain that assaulted his mind made him give up the idea. Jump? Dream on. If he were to move even a little, he would feel as if his entire body would be torn apart. Even if they really treated him as a grain reserve, he could only lie here obediently. Otherwise, even if he wasn't captured by the other party, he would die halfway due to his injuries. System. He subconsciously called out. At this time, Lin Yuan's first reaction was to ask the system for help. With his own ability, He was unable to break out of this situation. However, the familiar electronic voice had completely disappeared. After a full 3 to 4 minutes, Lin Yuan did not receive any response from the system. A question mark slowly appeared in Lin Yuan's head. He clearly remembered that he had only fainted after completing the first stage of the promotion mission. Could it be that the system saw that he couldn't be saved, so it simply unbound him? Lin Yuan closed his eyes helplessly and sighed. He had already resigned himself to his fate. Ding, the system upgrade is complete. Reconfiguring. The region is set to Sky Martial Continent. The language is set to the common language. The settings are complete. The operation mode is set to be mental control and voice control by default. The settings are complete. Host, please choose a new system assistant. Choice 1, Default Assistant. Choice 2, Sweet Lowly. Choice 3, Delicate and Domineering Sister. Choice 4. Listening to the system's broadcast in his mind, Lin Yuan was dumbfounded. To be honest, if he did not count the other options, Sweet Lowly, Delicate and Domineering Sister, and the original Russian doll, which one would he choose? After thinking for less than 0.1 seconds, Lin Yuan used his mind to choose the default assistant. No matter what kind of voice package the system assistant is, it is an intangible thing, and the default system is a Russian doll. Even if the voice package is changed, there will not be any changes, and it is impossible to give benefits. Lin Yuan is already used to the battle of wits and courage, and he does not want to grope for a new system assistant habit again. What if he chooses a person who is mentally retarded? At least you still have some conscience. The cold electronic voice sounded. Stop talking, tell me what happened after I fainted. Lin Yuan squinted his eyes. Since he could not move, he took the initiative to ask the system for follow-up questions. Reading host's unread broadcast. Ding, congratulations to the host for completing the first stage of posture of the owl snake. The second stage of the mission is now unlocked. Ding, congratulations to the host for obtaining the dragon's favor. The current relationship with the dragon's forces is close. Ding, congratulations to the host for devouring the flesh of the flood snake, obtaining a trace of dragon's bloodline. The bloodline model has been unlocked. 3 consecutive system notifications sounded in Lin Yuan's mind. In that instant, Lin Yuan did not have the intention to look at the details, but he was slightly curious. What did the dove snake that died in his hands do? How could the relationship between him and the dragon jump too close after killing it? Even the Broken Stone clan was not that close to Lin Yuan now. System, since I obtained the dragon's bloodline, does that mean I'm not a snake anymore? Lin Yuan blinked and asked subconsciously. A true dragon is a dragon. A flood dragon is also a dragon. Some big lizards that can fly, some lesser dragons that walk on the ground. There are many things that can be considered dragon in the world. They all look similar and call themselves dragons, but in reality, it is just the density and scarcity of the dragon's bloodline in the body that differs. The host did not really think that you would become a dragon just because you obtained a trace of dragon's bloodline, right? Is there such a good thing in the world? The system's familiar ridicule sounded. In the end, it paused and then added, let me remind the host again. Even in your dreams, you must have a sense of propriety. Chapter 74. Host, Lin Yuan status, Big Black Snake, Evolvable Realm. 10 out of 10 talent. 1. Identify the enemy's position according to smell cannot be advanced. 2. Form an accurate image within 500 meters around the body according to smell. 0/103. Water/ice control. 0/104. Blood sacrifice wishing technique speed. 14-1 defense. 23-0 attack. 14-0 assignable points. 5 martial arts. Golden body secrets. 55 out of 75 skills. 1. Death coil 138 to 302. Poison of poison wine 0/303. Tail attack 21 out of 104. Blood boiling technique 1/100. Item. Destroyed feather, reparable. Molting opportunity X1 bloodline evolution selection opportunity X1 looking at the newly appeared system panel. Lin Yuan's originally dark snake head became even darker. The brackets behind the attribute values were his current attributes. In other words, his current speed was only at the level of a level 1 monster. Whether it was his defense or attack power, they were all 0. Even if it was an ordinary beast, as long as it could catch up with him, it could easily kill him. Dog system, it's too realistic. However, the advancement of Venom's enhanced skills was also an unexpected surprise. It seemed that every time he entered this state where he relied entirely on instinct to fight to the death, his skills would advance. After thinking about it carefully, Lin Yuan completely tore the bold idea in his mind. There was no way to go all out, but if he went crazy and provoked the strong in order to become stronger and forced the other party to enter a state of desperation with him, that was another thing. That was courting death. System, where am I now? Lin Yuan was silent for a moment, but he still asked the most critical question. Just now he used the method of olfactory imaging to form a 500-meter picture in his mind. Except for him, there was no second living creature here, not even a single reptile, and there was no smell of beasts in the air. It was as if there were no other living creatures here except for Lin Yuan. Map generation. Map generation failed. Host, please explore by yourself. 3 consecutive system prompts sounded, and then the dog system entered a state of silence. Forget it, I won't ask you, it's fine as long as my life is not in danger for the time being. Lin Yuan retracted the snake's forked tongue, and used his mind to silently activate the item that gave him the opportunity to evolve his bloodline. This was the dragon's blood mentioned by the system. It was also the hidden reward for completing the first stage of the advancement quest. Obviously, the system was not so rigid as to give all the rewards after the completion of the advancement quest. Instead, it gave Lin Yuan a chance to quickly recover his strength. Ding! Analyzing dragon blood. Analysis complete. The trace of dragon blood in the host's hand is the blood of a flood dragon. I've analyzed 3 evolutionary directions. The first is a water flood dragon, which can summon wind and rain. The second is a mountain flood dragon, which can move mountains and split the earth. The third is a forest flood dragon, which can give birth to all living things. After using up all the items, the system gave him a corresponding choice. Lin Yuan also fell into a state of choice phobia. In his previous life, he heard that a snake cultivated for 500 years to become a flood dragon, and a flood dragon cultivated for 500 years to become a dragon. At the level of a dragon, it was further divided into levels such as horned dragon, winged dragon, and so on. He did not expect that this drop of flood dragon blood in the hands of the system could give him 3 evolutionary directions. The first was a water flood dragon, which was the traditional evolutionary direction in the ancient myths of his previous life. At this stage, according to the strength of the dragon, it could even control rivers, lakes, and seas, and become the dragon king of a certain region. Of course, whether it was in terms of ability or reputation, it was far from the legendary dragon king of the 4 seas. As for the mountain flood dragon and forest flood dragon, they were existences that Lin Yuan had never heard of in his previous life. One sounded like it had a strong attack power that could move mountains and split the earth. Its evolutionary direction should be the earth dragon, which was the terrifying existence in the legends that could cause an earthquake in a certain region with just a flip of its body. As for the forest flood dragon, it was a bit strange. It was not a traditional evolutionary existence like the water flood dragon, nor was it a terrifying existence like the mountain flood dragon. It could give birth to all living things, but it was somewhat similar to a logistical existence. It was just that he did not know if it could accelerate the growth of the green leaf water lotus. Therefore, Lin Yuan could not help but fall into a fear of making a choice. One was the evolutionary path that he was most familiar with, the other was an evolutionary path that could help him survive better, and the other's growth speed would definitely far surpass the other 2. After all, this talent could give birth to phase. System I choose the water flood dragon. The blue-white vertical pupils slightly lit up. Lin Yuan had already made his choice. He was not a person who liked to take risks. Moreover, his talent was to control water, and there were attribute bonuses in water. Naturally, he was more inclined towards the water flood dragon. Ding. Choice successful. Beginning evolution. At the same time as the electronic voice rang out, Lin Yuan's pitch-black snake body slightly trembled. Some of the damaged flesh began to slowly wriggle, growing new tender granules. These granules continued to proliferate and began to rapidly repair Lin Yuan's body. After his 100-meter-long snake body was completely regenerated, a layer of pitch-black bright scales began to slowly grow on his skin. Ding! Detected changes in the host's body. Automatically used one chance to shed skin. The electronic voice rang out again. Lin Yuan's originally intact snake scales began to shatter at this moment, turning into pieces of transparent snake skin that fell from Lin Yuan's body. Originally, Lin Yuan's snake scales were extremely fine, but this time, the newly born black scales were at least the size of an adult's palm. Moreover, not only were they black, but there were also circles of dark golden dragon patterns on the scales. It was somewhat similar to the state of the golden body secrets, but the color was extremely dim. If one did not look carefully, one would not be able to see it. Flood dragon scales. Although Lin Yuan had not completely evolved, the system had already given him a body of flood dragon scales. Now, even if he didn't activate the golden body technique, just this layer of scales and defensive power alone would make it impossible for any creature below the wisdom realm to shatter his scales. Even the human cannons he had seen before might not be able to blast open his scales. The tender red snake tongue came out of his mouth. Lin Yuan moved his body, shaking off the transparent snake skin from his body. All the pain just now seemed to be an illusion, as if it did not exist at all. However, there were still question marks in the status panel. It was clear that Lin Yuan had not recovered to his peak state. After all, this kind of evolution was not a promotion. Although the external injuries were healed, the internal injuries were still there. Ding! Congratulations to the host for successfully absorbing a trace of dragon blood and changing your bloodline. You have obtained a new innate ability. Flood Dragon Scales. Flood Dragon Scales. The current you is still far from being a dragon, but a trace of the Flood Dragon's bloodline allowed you to evolve into a Flood Dragon scale armor. Although it is far from being comparable to a real Flood Dragon, it is still not the same as before. When the scales are intact, your defense is increased by 20%. Chapter 75. Ding! 1,300 meters to the west. An intelligent state demonic beast is approaching. Host, please escape as soon as possible. Ding! 1,300 meters to the west. An intelligent state demonic beast is approaching. Host, please escape as soon as possible. Ding! 1,100 meters to the west. An unknown demonic beast is approaching. Host, please escape as soon as possible. Just as he regained some of his combat strength, the system's notification made Lin Yuan's face darken again. Although the intelligent state demonic beast would become a part of his diet sooner or later, he only wanted to complete his advancement mission in peace. After all, he didn't have any intention of bullying the young, and he didn't want to be enemies with other demonic beasts that were one realm higher than him. If he caused too much trouble, he would really die. But the problem was it really possible for him to escape from the hands of two great demons of the wisdom realm, and an existence of an unknown realm? Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. 4 intelligent state demonic beasts, even if they didn't use any tricks, they could cover a distance of more than 1,000 meters in just 7 or 8 steps. Therefore, when Lin Yuan heard the sound of wind breaking, the 3 demonic beasts were already standing in the area where Lin Yuan was temporarily resting. Among the 3 demonic beasts, the one that Lin Yuan was most familiar with was Mendo, the one that scared countless demonic beasts to the point that they didn't dare to move, and almost crushed that Jiao snake to death. Of the remaining 2 demonic beasts, one was an old ape with gray hair. It seemed to be a mountain-shaking ape, but it seemed to be different from the mountain-shaking ape. It seemed to have a vertical eye between its eyebrows, but the third eye wasn't open. It was tightly shut and looked like a crack. The other one was a dragon. Lin Yuan's blue-white vertical pupils flashed with a strange color. He looked at the golden scales of the other party, and the 2 horns on its snake-like head. He could even feel a faint oppressive force from the other party. Unlike the pressure that the dove snake and the flood dragon snake emitted on their own initiative, the existence in front of him seemed to be a dragon. It seemed to have deliberately suppressed the pressure on its own body, but there was still some lingering charm in its movements. Black Snake, this is Ao Qian from the West Sea Dragon Palace. She originally came to the Hengduan Mountains to kill the Jiao snake, but when she arrived, she saw you fighting with the Jiao snake, so she didn't act rashly. Today, she came here to treat your injuries. But looking at your lively appearance, it seems that you don't need it. Ha ha ha. This is the sage of the Broken Stone clan, and the clan leader of our clan. Batu is his son. He heard that you have a way to treat Batu injuries, so he came to see you. Mendu stood aside and introduced the two beasts to Lin Yuan one by one. Ha! Lin Yuan's blue-white vertical pupils lit up slightly, and a touch of joy flashed through his eyes. Dragon Palace of the Four Seas? Ayo. Was this a coincidence? Or was this world actually related to his previous life? If the two worlds were related, did it mean that he could return to the world of his previous life? The feeling of having a blood feud on his back was not a good feeling. Not bad. When I first saw you, you were just an ordinary little snake. Now that I look at you again, you have the potential to transform into a Jiao snake. It seems that the Jiao snake really misjudged you. You seem to have the blood of the dragon clan in your body. Ao Qian looked up and down at Lin Yuan. A ray of light flashed in her red vertical eyes. She emphasized the word seems, because she was not sure what was going on with Lin Yuan. When he fought with the Jiao snake, this guy was obviously just an ordinary black snake. But after 2 days of recuperation, his body had the blood of a Jiao snake. Even the horns of a Jiao snake had not grown out, but he already had scales. Whether I have the blood of the dragon clan in my body or not, what does it have to do with Senior? Lin Yuan's blue-white vertical eyes hid all his emotions. The muscles of his body were slightly tense, ready to enter the battle state at any time. He did not mind using the greatest malice to figure out all the monsters. After all, this was a place where the strong preyed on the weak. He was just an ordinary black snake, but he condensed the blood of a Jiao snake. Even if the real dragon clan looked down on Jiao dragons, they would definitely be curious about what means Lin Yuan used to evolve his blood. The way these monsters solved their curiosity was often to directly snatch the other party's things and bring them to themselves. Of course it has something to do with it. If you are the blood of the dragon clan scattered outside, you should leave with me. You can choose one of the dragon palaces of the Four Seas to live in. It is better than being careful in this Hengduan mountain range. When Ao Qian said these words, there was a high and mighty momentum. Even if she was the overlord of this area, she did not have any intention of restraining herself. It was as if the monsters in the Hengduan mountain range were all inferior creatures, and the dragon clan of the Four Seas could stand on the clouds and overlook everything. What was strange was that the mountain-shaking ape clan, who had always been known for their bad temper, stood there silently. Seeing that Lin Yuan was still expressionless, Ao Qian smiled coldly and said, "Little black snake, don't tell me you are so naive to think that you can become the strongest just by yourself? You should know that in the entire Tianwu continent, the monsters must pay attention to their blood. And as long as it is stained with the word dragon, it can almost be equated with strength. Now, do you understand the level of power of the dragon palaces of the Four Seas? As long as we are willing, there is no problem in sinking the entire Tianwu continent to the bottom of the sea. System, the dragon palaces of the Four Seas in this world. Are they the dragon palaces of the Four Seas that I know?" Lin Yuan did not reply, but silently communicated with the system through his mind. I don't know if the dragon palaces of the Four Seas in this world are related to the dragon palaces of the Four Seas that the host knows, but I can be sure that the dragon palaces of the Four Seas in this world do not even have a dragon king, let alone a dragon king. The host will understand what the so-called title of dragon king means in the future. The system sneered and replied casually. Lin Yuan's face still did not show any joy or sorrow, but his yearning for the dragon palaces of the Four Seas had completely disappeared. A dragon palace that did not even have a few true dragons, how could it be called a dragon palace? Gently shaking his head, Lin Yuan replied with his mind, "I am sorry, Senior. Although I do have the blood of the dragon clan in my body, I have nothing to do with the dragon palaces of the Four Seas. Furthermore, I do not want to leave the Hengduan mountain range." Hearing this, Ao Qian's face stiffened. She could not understand. The dragon palaces of the four seas were famous for their fighting prowess. How could there be a monster who refused to join the dragon palaces of the four seas? With the name of the dragon palaces of the four seas hanging on his body, as long as he did not do anything that angered the heavens, even the nobles of the 7 great dynasties would have to think twice before offending him. Chapter 76. Well, the Hungduan mountain range seems to be powerful, but it's just a group of chickens and pottery dogs waiting to die. What you have seen now is just a corner. When you regret it, come to the West Sea Dragon Palace to find me. But at that time, the conditions I can give will certainly not be better than now. Ao Qian blinked her eyes. Her figure flashed, and she directly disappeared on the spot. This? Mendo's mouth was slightly open with a look of astonishment. Ao Qian of the West Sea Dragon Palace wanted to recruit the Black Snake. He originally thought that it was a great opportunity. With the help of the Dragon Palace, Bada's injury could be better treated. But he never thought that the Black Snake was not even a little bit moved, and directly refused the recruitment from the West Sea Dragon Palace. Didn't the dragon snake that he had killed before rely on his ability to transform into a dragon and the opportunity to join the Dragon Palace of the Four Seas in the future, so that he dared not put the overlord of this area in his eyes? A person who had the opportunity to join the Dragon Palace was so arrogant, but a person who could really join the Dragon Palace directly refused? Mendo stepped back. The three-eyed ape reached out and patted Mendo's shoulder and whispered, "Yes." Mendo, like a child, respectfully bowed his head and then silently retreated to the side. Black Snake, your name is now well known in the Hungduan mountain range. In a few months, you grew from an ordinary black snake to an existence that can fight with the wisdom state demon beasts today. There are not many unusual creatures like you in countless years. Moreover, 80% of them are from the human clan and not demon beasts. So you are very special. But you are too dazzling. The human clan will not let you continue to grow. Even if the Broken Stone clan can shelter you for a while, they can't shelter you forever. If you want to live, you must improve yourself faster and then go deeper into the area until those humans dare not attack you again. The three-eyed ape said slowly with a faint smile on his face. Senior, what do you mean? Lin Yuan was slightly stunned. He thought that the three-eyed ape might tell him about Batu, and that the three-eyed ape wanted to get some benefits from him. But he never thought that the three-eyed ape would appear here just to remind him to be careful of humans. What was this? Was it a show of goodwill? It's just an investment in advance. You have the Dragon Clan's bloodline and the invitation of the Dragon Palace, but you resolutely refused the invitation of the Dragon Palace. This shows that you have greater ambitions. From the outermost demon beast forest to our area, the biggest obstacle in front of you is my Gravel clan, isn't it? If we didn't have Badu as a link, when you appeared at the edge of the Hungduan mountain range, I would have sent all my subordinates out until you were completely destroyed. But now I think we can talk. The three-eyed ape was still smiling. Lord Sage. Mendo's mouth was wide open, and his face revealed the same astonishment as Lin Yuan's. A black snake at the 10th level of the Spirit Awakening realm did have a place in this area, but it was nothing in front of the Shattered Stone clan. Disregarding everything else, just the Mendu could easily crush this black snake. But Lord Sage's words had a hint of weakness. I don't quite understand what senior means. Lin Yuan slightly tilted his eyes and softly replied. No matter if it's a human or a beast, the fastest time of cultivation is often when they just start cultivating. A few months on the children of my clan might not even be able to learn how to walk, but on you, you were able to turn from an ordinary black snake into a level 10 monster beast today. This kind of growth speed has already surpassed any monster beast that I know of. Even the children of the Dragon Clan might not be able to catch up to you. Right now, you are just a minion that can be destroyed at any time to our Shattered Stone clan. But in the future, you will grow into an existence that the entire mountain-shaking ape clan must look up to. So there are only two choices in front of me. I choose to stand on your side, it's that simple. As the three-eyed ape spoke, he suddenly reached out and pierced the black line between his eyebrows. Poochie. Dark red blood sprayed over half of Lin Yuan's snake body. When he recovered, the three-eyed ape was already holding a gray stone bead and placing it in front of Lin Yuan. This is one of the inheritances of my Shattered Stone clan. It is called the Eye of Petrification. Once you pour in your demonic power, you can open the eye. After opening the eye, it will release a petrifying light. No matter what monster beast it is, it will turn into a stone statue. It's just that the time it takes to turn into a stone statue depends on the strength of the realm. Just treat it as a greeting gift from the old monkey. The three-eyed ape gently tossed the Eye of Petrification in his hand, and the latter immediately floated above Lin Yuan's head. Compared to Mendu's confusion, Lin Yuan was more shocked. Was this three-eyed ape really a monster beast? Faced with a junior who was growing at an extremely terrifying speed, anyone would feel that this junior would threaten their position as the overlord. Therefore, they would often destroy this outstanding junior at all costs. However, the phrase beat a snake to death was applicable everywhere. Once they couldn't completely destroy this outstanding junior, the two sides would form an irreconcilable hatred. The destruction of a power could often only be because of a momentary selfish desire of the person in power. However, the three-eyed ape chose to be on good terms with Lin Yuan when the same multiple-choice question was placed in front of it. In the future, if Lin Yuan could transform into a dragon, not only would the Shattered Stone tribe be able to maintain their current position, they would even be able to advance a step further under Lin Yuan's reverse nurturing, expanding their territory to an even more vast area. This kind of multiple-choice question, the majority of humans couldn't do it well, but a monster beast could think it through so thoroughly. The name of a wise man was indeed not in vain. I understand. Lin Yuan slightly lowered his snake head, and a strange color flashed through his blue-white vertical pupils. Ding, detecting that the host has obtained the E-grade tool, Eye of Petrification. Do you wish to equip it? The system's ice-cold electronically synthesized voice sounded again. Equip. Lin Yuan glanced at the Eye of Petrification floating above his head. Speaking of which, petrifying opponents seem to be a traditional skill of snake demons? For example, the Medusa of Western mythology. However, although this Eye of Petrification had to comply with the difference in strength, it didn't need others to look at it. It only needed it to look at others. Following the system's confirmation, the Eye of Petrification floating above Lin Yuan's head suddenly turned into a gray light that shone on Lin Yuan's head. After a moment, the black snake scales on Lin Yuan's forehead slowly turned into a lime color. Pieces of prismatic scales formed an eyeball imprint on Lin Yuan's head. Chapter 77. Host, Lin Yuan status. Heavenly Black Python, in the process of transforming into a flood dragon, realm. 10 out of 10 innate skills. 1. Identify enemy's location based on smell, cannot advance. 2. Create an accurate image of a 500-meter radius based on smell, 0/103. Water/ice control, 0/104. Sacrificial blood wish technique. Make a wish with your own blood or another creature's blood, can be replaced with attribute points. Whether or not the wish is fulfilled depends on the strength of the wish and the quality of the sacrifice. 5. Flood Dragon Scale Armor. When the scale armor is in good condition, it can provide the host with a 20% increase in defense. Speed, 1410 defense, 23 plus 5. 6 attack, 1410 distributable points, 5 martial arts, golden body secrets 55 75 skills, 1. Death Coil, 138 to 302. Poison of Poison Wine, 0/303. Tail Strike, 21 out of 104. Blood Boil Technique, 1/105. All things have spirit, can communicate with other creatures through thought, cannot advance. Items. Damaged light feather can be repaired. Petrified eye name. Light feather already destroyed. Effect. Speed +1 upon equipping. Additional skill. Light feather wind skill. Light feather wind. When you fall from a high place, you can glide for a short time. Note. The cost of repairing an item is 10 attribute points. Name. Petrified eye effect. No equipment effects. Additional skills. Sharp perception. Petrified light skills. 1. Sharp perception. You who have a third eye, have vision and senses that normal people can't reach. 2. Petrified light. Use Yao Qi to activate the petrified eye, which can shoot out a ray of light that can petrify living creatures. Mission panel. Name. Alserpent's form stage 2 description. You use the body of a rank 10 monster to kill a Wisdom Realm monster and 1. The current you has already made a name for yourself in the Hengduan mountain range. Most of the Wisdom Realm monsters have already acknowledged your existence. Weak monsters will tremble when they see you. Strong monsters will show you some respect when they see you. But to you, the new king of the jungle, this is far from enough. What you need is submission, not respect. Go you come, you see you conquer. Mission requirement. Defeat or absorb 3 monster clans. Mission reward. Faction relationship model. Advance to Wisdom Realm. Failure penalty. Lose the qualification to evolve. Mission progress. 1/3 time limit. 1 month. Seeing the new urgent mission, Lin Yuan felt his face twitching crazily. There were many demonic beasts in the Hengduan mountain range. One could casually encounter large and small clans. However, there weren't many that could be called a demonic beast clan. After all, in order to become a clan, the clan must first have 3 great demonic beasts of Wisdom Realm and above. The total number of demonic beasts in the clan must be no less than 200. They must have a territory, and this territory must have a complete ecological chain. It couldn't be a dead land. The demons that Lin Yuan had hunted before could only be considered as stragglers at best. Killing them was not a big deal. However, if he were to start a war with the clan, that would be a different matter. At the same time, not far from the territory of the Stony clan, the remaining leaders of the 3 clans in this area all gathered on a small mountain. They were the leader of the Winter Wolf clan, Blizzard, the leader of the Winter Wolf clan, Chunyan, the leader of the Black Tortoise clan, and the leader of the Hunting Wind clan, Pingqiu, the leader of the Black Fox clan, who had always appeared and disappeared mysteriously. The 3 great demonic beasts at the peak of Wisdom Realm sat together. They looked at each other, but no one spoke first. Stop talking. This king will speak first. Blizzard narrowed his wolf eyes and said in a cold tone, "You guys know about the black snake that became famous recently, right? This king has already received accurate information. That black snake has already joined forces with the Stony clan. Perhaps soon, when you and I see that black snake, we will have to bow respectfully." So what? We demonic beasts have always been like this. As long as we are strong, we will be respected. Chunyan glanced at Blizzard and said in a low muffled voice, "TSK, Chunyan, are you pretending to be dumb, or have you really become dumb from sleeping?" The Blizzard Wolf King clearly wants to say that the old monkey has been suppressing us all our lives. When the old monkey was about to die, the Stony clan came out. Although the old monkey isn't as strong as the old monkey, and can continue to suppress the 3 of us, the Winter Wolf clan still has a chance to replace the old monkey. Now that the Stony clan has the help of that black snake, the Stony clan's fighting strength has reached a new level. The Blizzard Wolf clan still has to be the Dog King, not the Wolf King that it fantasizes about. Pingqiu narrowed his fox eyes. He looked like he was smiling, but his voice was cold. Chunyan turned his huge head to the side and said slowly, "So, our Dog King wants to trick us into joining forces with it. He wants us to start a war with the Stony clan. The best case scenario is that we and the Stony clan both suffer losses, so that he can reap the benefits?" As soon as he finished speaking, Blizzard's eyes flashed with a hint of gloominess. He, we can't help it. Our Dog King thinks that he's the only one with brains." Pingqiu chuckled and looked at Blizzard with a mocking gaze. As the leader of the Winter Wolf clan, Blizzard was naturally embarrassed to be mocked in front of everyone. However, it wasn't good for him to make trouble now. He could only say with a gloomy face, "Who are you talking to? If the 2 of you were willing to continue watching those apes dominate this area, you wouldn't have bothered to talk to me. Why would you gather here?" Chunyan and Pingqiu snorted at the same time, but they didn't say anything. The Stony clan was able to dominate this area mainly because of the existence of the 3-eyed ape. When it reached adulthood, it could even easily crush the leaders of the Winter Wolf, Stony Rock, and Hunting Wind clans. Therefore, their fathers had been suppressed by the 3-eyed ape for their entire lives. In their generation, They were still suppressed by the three-eyed ape for most of their lives. It wasn't easy for the three-eyed ape to reach the end of its lifespan. The appearance of the Mendu clan instantly dispelled their thoughts of destroying the Stony clan. The balance between the four sides was not bad. However, the most important problem now was that the Stony clan had formed a good relationship with the Black Snake clan. Whether it was the Mendu clan or the Black Snake clan, they were both kings. If these two clans joined forces, the balance would be broken. To put it more seriously, although the Hungduan Mountains was vast, the territory was not endless. There were only so many places suitable for the demon beast to breed. For example, this area could only accommodate the existence of 4 clans. If the Black Snake clan was determined to take root here, then they could join forces with the Stony clan and kick one of the 3 clans out at any time. It was fine if they couldn't become the new overlord. After all, they could only dream about it for so many years. However, when it involved their own interests, it was a different matter. No one wanted to be the loser who was kicked out of the game. Chapter 78. Because the host's existence has hindered the next deployment of the Winterwolf clan. The relationship between the Winterwolf clan and the host has decreased by 15 points. The current relationship is hostile. Because the Winterwolf clan leader Blizzard has fanned the flames, the relationship between the host and the Boulder clan has decreased by 15 points. The current relationship is cold. Because the Winterwolf clan leader Blizzard has fanned the flames, the relationship between the host and the Huntwind clan has decreased by 15 points. The current relationship is cold. Ding. Congratulations to the host. You have become enemies with 3 of the 4 major clans in this area. The faction battle model has been unlocked. Please enter the faction battle model to view the details. Question marks began to appear on top of Lin Yuan's head. He still didn't know how to complete the system's promotion mission. In the end, except for the Boulder clan, the other 3 major clans were all standing on the opposite side of him. Wasn't this a hellish start? No. Lin Yuan's blue-white vertical pupils suddenly shrank, staring at the three-eyed ape whose face was covered in blood. The huge snake body began to tremble slightly. No matter what kind of demon beast it was, it would abide by the law of the jungle. If a demon beast was too old, then it would be exiled by its original clan to another area and be left to fend for itself. The rations freed up could be used to provide for the needs of the clan's young. Although the three-eyed ape looked old, it was able to sit in the position of the Boulder clan's leader. Even such a strong person like Menda followed its lead. It was enough to prove that this three-eyed ape was definitely a super strong person. However, after handing over the eyes of petrification to Lin Yuan, the three-eyed ape did not just look old. At the moment, it looked like an old man with 1 foot in the grave, and it seemed that it could die suddenly in front of Lin Yuan at any time. He seemed to have been tricked by this old guy. Although he had hunted a few hunting teams of the Winterwolf clan, and had always been at odds with them, the conflict had not been brought to the surface. Why did the Wolf King called Blizzard provoke the hostility of the other 2 clans towards him? Obviously, the three-eyed ape didn't have many days left to live. Today it suddenly came to show goodwill, not only because it saw Lin Yuan's future potential, but also because it didn't believe that after it died, with only Menda's strength and wisdom, it could continue to maintain the Boulder clan's position as the overlord of this area. This old man was here to drag him down with him. However, he had already received the benefits, so there was no way he could return it. He could only suffer in silence and swallow the bitterness into his stomach. With your aptitude, it's only a matter of time before you establish a force. Here, you have the help of the Gravel clan. In fact, it's quite easy to settle down here. If you were in another place, the result would be hard to say. I think this is one of the reasons why you approached Badu, isn't it? I will give you all the benefits you deserve, and all I ask is for you to fulfill your duty as our ally. If you don't believe me, you can withdraw from this area and watch from the sidelines. When the 3 of them divide up my Gravel clan, you can see if I've coaxed you. After looking at Lin Yuan for a moment, the three-eyed ape seemed to have guessed what Lin Yuan was thinking. Lin Yuan was speechless. After a long while, he nodded heavily. Although the growth of the green leaf water lotus was extremely slow, it was indeed a rare opportunity. Lin Yuan couldn't give it up. So he wanted to develop his force in the Hengduan Mountains. This place connected to the monster forest was his best springboard. If he went to other areas, even if he could conquer a territory, Lin Yuan couldn't accept it. After all, there was a territory of other monster beasts in between. If something happened to the green leaf water lotus, Lin Yuan would have to look at the other party's face before he could go back to help. The three-eyed ape sneered and waved to the guard at the side. They left the place one after another. Force relationship model, Blackwater Dragon Palace can be renamed leader. Lin Yuan member. Batu 100, Mountain Shaking Ape Gravel Clan, leader. Bayard member. Gentle Frost Wolf Winter Wolf Clan leader. Blizzard member. Hatred Black Fox Hunting Wind Clan, leader. Pingqiu member. Cold Black Tortoise Boulder Clan leader. Chunyan member. Cold Demon Subduing Master Iron Hand Regiment, leader. Iron Hand member. Hatred Mountain Blocking Cities Lu Clan. Mortal Enemy, Mountain Blocking Cities City Lord Residence. Mortal Enemy, Force Battle Model, name, Stoneclaw Forest Scramble. Yet to begin, attacking forces. Winter Wolf, Crevice Boulder weak, defending forces. Gravel Blackwater weak, evaluation. Evenly matched opponents note. The evaluation of the force's strength is based on the average of all the forces in the Tianwu continent. It is divided into 5 grades. Extremely weak, weak, average, strong, invincible. If the host obtains victory in this battle, the host will receive 300 war points. If the host loses in this battle, the host will have to pay 300 war points. Note: the war points can be used to purchase special items. If the host's war points are 0, the penalty for failure will be deducted from the host's attribute points. The current ratio is 1 attribute point for every 10 war points. The host can exchange war points for attribute points. The current ratio is 1 attribute point for every 100 war points. Note: the host cannot exchange attribute points for war points. Trash. After glancing at the newly unlocked force battle model, Lin Yuan snorted in disdain. The combined strength of the 3 clans was only equal to the Gravel clan. With this, they still wanted to be the overlord? However, very quickly, Lin Yuan's vertical pupils flashed with a hint of astonishment. Something seemed to be wrong. The Gravel clan was only able to fight evenly with the other 3 clans because of the existence of the three-eyed ape. However, the other 3 clans were not fools. As long as the three-eyed ape was alive, they would not bare their fangs. F***ck. After thinking for a while, Lin Yuan finally could not hold back and curse it out loud. If he lost this battle, not only would it affect his future plans, it would also directly deduct 30 attribute points. It was equivalent to directly kicking him from a grade 10 demonic beast to a grade 6 demonic beast. Moreover, when the second stage of the promotion mission ended, the system would directly unbind him. At that time, even if Lin Yuan could return to the demonic beast forest alive, he would be separated from the top of the food chain. At most, he would be considered as a high-level predator. Moreover, he would have to face the pursuit of the city lord of Mountain Blocking City, the Lu clan, and the 3 clans if he won. Before this battle of forces even started, Lin Yuan had already seen through it. This was another trap that the system had arranged for him. Chapter 79. There was only one option in this war, and that was to win. If he won, he would get everything he wanted. Not only would Lin Yuan be able to take root here and start building his forces, but he would also be able to complete the system's advancement mission and step into the wisdom state, becoming the top predator in this area. If he lost, he would have nothing left. He would have to dance on a tightrope for as long as he could. At most, it would be 2 years. If he didn't die in the hands of humans, he would die in the hands of demonic beasts. Even leaving a complete corpse would be a luxury. Stupid system, come out. Lin Yuan muttered in his heart. The system didn't say anything, but Lin Yuan heard the sound of electricity. He had a feeling that the Russian doll was scolding him, but all the words had been blocked. That's it. I unlocked a new function model. And there's no reward at all? Lin Yuan blinked and asked with a grin. The system was silent for a while, as if it was stunned by Lin Yuan's shamelessness. After a long while, the system faintly replied, "Ding! Congratulations to the host. You have successfully unlocked the battle model of the forces. You have obtained Basic Map Scan X1. The Basic Map Scan was a good thing. When Lin Yuan first came to this world, he relied on the Basic Map Scan reward to avoid a large number of demonic beasts that could easily kill him. However, after entering the Hengduan Mountains, he had already exceeded the range of his first Basic Map Scan. The system would only give him a notification when the demonic beasts entered his sensing range. If he really met a tough opponent, a distance of more than 1,000 meters would not be enough for him to run. Without saying a word, Lin Yuan directly used the basic map scanning props. Ding. Scanning current map. Ding. Map scan complete loading. Ding. Loading complete. After the system's upgrade, the scanning speed of the map was much faster, and the range was much wider. The last time Lin Yuan was in the demonic beast forest, he only scanned a few hundred miles. But this time, Lin Yuan received a full 3,000 miles. Within this 3,000 miles, the system would give him a warning the moment something that could threaten him appeared. Let me take a look. Lin Yuan closed his eyes and focused his mind on the newly appeared map. Although the system map wasn't so freakish that it could perform real-time reconnaissance without any vision, the moment it scanned, it had already frozen all the images within a radius of 3,000 miles. As a result, every time Lin Yuan took the initiative to check the map, he would see these images. The frozen images would only change when Lin Yuan saw or sensed them. I really don't know if I'm lucky or if you guys are unlucky. Lin Yuan suddenly sneered, opened his eyes, and took the initiative to exit the new map screen. The area he was currently living in was one of the forbidden areas of the Shattered Stone clan. Only when certain rituals were being carried out would the Shattered Stone clan be allowed to enter this area. If foreign demonic beasts wanted to enter this area, they would have to go through a bloodbath of the Shattered Stone clan. Walking 10 miles out, one could reach the Shattered Stone clan's territory. That was where most of the cubs and mother demonic beasts lived. There was also no lack of some mountain-shaking apes that had entered the aging stage. Their bodies were riddled with scars, but they were still strong. They were teaching the cubs hunting and survival experience. It looked like a happy and harmonious scene. The three-eyed ape that forcefully dragged Lin Yuan into the water seemed to live here. Walking another 30 miles out, it was the main activity area of the adult mountain-shaking apes. Similar to Mendu's fighting strength, they lived in this area. They were the first line of defense against foreign forces. Even if they encountered an opponent that they couldn't contend with, they would still buy enough time for the cubs to retreat. And the place where these adult male mountain-shaking apes were stationed was about 100 miles out. There was a small hill. The three clans that were preparing to go to war with the Shattered Stone clan after the three-eyed ape's death were temporarily stationed on this small hill. From this point of view, the three-eyed ape really didn't have many days left to live. Those three clans couldn't wait any longer. It was estimated that after confirming the three-eyed ape's death, they would impatiently launch an attack. Lin Yuan twisted his pitch-black snake body and slowly disappeared into the jungle ahead. He had an immature but bold idea. 2 days later, all the adult mountain-shaking apes of the Shattered Stone clan didn't participate in the hunt. Instead, they silently came to the place where the cubs and women and children lived. It seemed like they were waiting for something. Lin Yuan's huge snake body dragged a simple wooden coffin as he slowly walked out of the forbidden area. The leader of the group of adult mountain-shaking apes, led by Mendu, followed closely behind Lin Yuan. Mendu's pair of bright black eyes flickered with a black light. He lowered his voice and said, "Although we demon beasts don't pay attention to auspiciousness or inauspiciousness, there has to be an explanation for the matter of you making the wise man play dead. Today, if the three clans don't attack us, you definitely won't have a good time." Attack. Lin Yuan's blue-white vertical pupils flashed with a cold light. He asked back, "Why are they attacking us? Why aren't we taking the initiative to attack them? The longer this drags on, the worse it will be for us. A quick battle is the key to our victory." "They're here." Mendo's expression suddenly turned serious. He raised his head and looked at the group of demonic beasts that appeared on the mountain path. There were about 20 of them, and all of them were wisdom-awakening demonic beasts. The leader was a huge wolf with shiny silver fur. Good fellow. When the Black Snake said that the 3 clans had set up a temporary camp beside the Stone-Shattering clan, it said that the 3 clans wouldn't have the guts to do so. After all, after being caught by the mountain-shaking apes, it would be a slap to the mouth of the 3 clans for no reason. Even the clans behind them wouldn't be able to find fault with it. But now Mendu believed Lin Yuan's words. When the 3-eyed ape died, there would indeed be many demon beasts coming to watch the ceremony. If there was enough time, there would also be many powerful beings coming from the deeper regions of the Hengduan mountain range. However, 20 Wisdom Realm demons appeared on the mountain path that they had to pass if they wanted to go down the mountain almost at the same time the coffin came out of the forbidden area. Moreover, they were all members of the Black Tiger, Frost Wolf, and Black Tortoise clans. If there wasn't something fishy going on, it would cut off its head and let them play with it like a ball. Amen, there are more than I expected. But it's not a big problem. Lin Yuan narrowed his eyes slightly, and his pair of blue and white pupils instantly shrank into the shape of a needle. A vicious aura suddenly emanated from his body. Chapter 80. Black Snake, Mendu, where are you guys going? The leading frost wolf licked its blood-stained claws, as if it had just eaten its fill. Even its voice sounded a little lazy. Our clan's sage has died of old age, and has already seen the ancestral spirit. Now we're going to bring the sage to the ancestral land to be buried. Why are you guys here? Mendo narrowed his eyes and asked faintly. Hearing this, no matter if it was the leading frost wolf or the demonic beasts following behind it, their eyes all revealed a trace of uncontrollable joy. Lin Yuan took in this scene and sneered in his heart. It was said that wisdom state demonic beasts had intelligence similar to humans, but Lin Yuan couldn't verify this. After all, he was a different species whose soul had transmigrated. Let alone wisdom state. Even if he was just an ordinary beast now, he still had the intelligence of a human. But then again, intelligence was one thing, experience was another. For an existence like the Shattered Stone Clan sage, ordinary humans could easily be fooled by it. But these ordinary wisdom state demonic beasts couldn't even control their most basic emotions. Hearing that the sage's thigh had fallen, it immediately revealed a happy expression. It was also fortunate that it was a demonic beast. Otherwise, with this kind of emotional intelligence, it wouldn't be able to live to adulthood. The frost wolf put down its claws and slowly said, Sir Sage has always been the overlord of our Stoneclaw forest. Something like him going to see the ancestral spirit. Your Shattered Stone Clan actually did it yourself? No. I won't agree. I want to see Sir Sage for the last time. After saying this, Lin Yuan almost couldn't hold back his laughter. Call it stupid, but it clearly knew that it couldn't just believe Mendu's one-sided words and go back to pass on the information. It had to see the 3-eyed ape die with its own eyes before it could be at ease. But saying this in front of the other party was simply asking for a beating. The other party's mood was already bad after their own elder passed away. Now that the coffin was closed, you suddenly ran out to open the coffin to see the deceased. If it was someone with a bad temper, they would probably send you on your way. Alas. Mendu sighed and slowly moved aside. White Claw, you were taught by the wise man when you were young, so I agree to let you see him one last time. But you must promise me to leave after one glance and not disturb his rest. Okay. White Claw nodded with a smile. It didn't have any strange hobbies. Although the flesh and blood of a peak wisdom demonic beast was a great supplement, if it ate the sage's flesh and blood in front of the Gravel clan, it definitely wouldn't be able to walk out of here today. However, if it could confirm the news of the 3-eyed ape's true death, then it would be a truly great merit. As soon as he finished his sentence, White Claw rushed to the side of the wooden coffin impatiently and violently flipped the lid over. However, before it could look down to see if there was really a corpse in the coffin, a large hand with gray fur reached out and grabbed its neck. Crack. A crisp sound rang out. This Wisdom Realm frost wolf didn't even have a chance to struggle before its neck was broken, and it died on the spot. Do it. The three-eyed ape's muffled voice rang out from the coffin. Under the horrified gazes of the Wisdom Realm demonic beasts that followed White Claw, countless mountain-shaking apes pounced on them. Even Lin Yuan moved his snake body and coiled around two black foxes that were trying to escape. Death Entanglement was instantly activated and began to squeeze the internal organs of the two black foxes. Lin Yuan was quite confident in his Flood Dragon scale armor against these demonic beasts that didn't rely on physical combat as their main method of hunting. Ding! Congratulations to host for killing a Wisdom Realm black fox. The reward is 5 attribute points. Ding! Congratulations to host for killing a Wisdom Realm black fox. The reward is 5 attribute points. The two notifications rang out one after the other. However, Lin Yuan's movements were extremely fast. He even put his original 5 attribute points into the golden body technique. The advancement mission hadn't been completed yet, so Lin Yuan didn't know how many attribute points he needed to advance to the Wisdom Realm. He didn't even know how many attribute points he could store. Fortunately, after activating the proficiency model, Lin Yuan didn't care whether the attribute points would be wasted or not. Anyway, these skills were as terrifying as a bottomless pit to Lin Yuan at this stage. By the time Lin Yuan released the two black fox corpses, the battle on the other side had already completely ended. Taking advantage of the shock brought by the three-eyed ape zombie attack on White Claw, the Wisdom Realm demonic beasts arranged by the three great clans didn't even have the chance to fight back. They were directly controlled and killed one by one. In the entire process, only the three weaker mountain-shaking apes suffered light injuries. Looking at the entire Shattered Stone clan, the total number of Wisdom Realm demonic beasts didn't exceed 40. The three great clans combined might have a little more than the Shattered Stone clan. However, after this wave, even without the three-eyed ape, the strength of both sides was infinitely close. Lin Yuan already had a 60% chance of winning in this unintentional war. Let's go. We'll directly attack the temporary camp of the three great clans. Lin Yuan called out to Mendo. After resting for a few days, his injuries had almost completely healed, and he was much stronger than before. Killing a demonic beast like the Black Fox didn't require much effort. But facing a peak Wisdom Realm demonic beast like Mendo, Lin Yuan didn't feel like he had much chance of winning even if he ambushed him. Even if he activated the blood-boiling technique, he would only have a 50% chance of winning. After 3 minutes, he would immediately be torn to shreds by the enraged Mendo. The leaders of the three great clans were more or less at the same level. As such, in the following battle, Mendo and the three-eyed ape would be the main force. Lin Yuan felt like he had picked up some scraps. Getting a few attribute points was already good enough. In any case, his realm wasn't high enough. Killing an early-stage Wisdom Realm demonic beast would give him 5 attribute points. Killing a peak-stage Wisdom Realm demonic beast would also give him 5 attribute points. Under these circumstances, why should he risk his life? Wasn't it better to fish in troubled waters? Under Mendo's lead, the mountain-shaking apes, who were already prepared, roared and charged into the forest outside. Lin Yuan also slowly wriggled his snake body, following behind the mountain-shaking apes. Wisdom Realm demonic beasts had a common ability. They could freely control the size of their bodies. Even though they couldn't be smaller than normal beasts, they were still much more concealed than giant beasts that were hundreds of meters tall. Even though their strength would decrease after shrinking, they could still switch into their giant beast form whenever they wanted to in battle. It couldn't be any more convenient. During this wave of sneak attacks, Lin Yuan couldn't show up at will before they fought with the three major clans in Mendo. He was afraid that he would expose this sneak attack. Chapter 81. Apes were omnivorous animals. In terms of aggression, they were not as aggressive as those pure carnivorous animals. However, it was almost impossible to find a better hunter than them in the jungle. Hundreds of mountain-shaking apes swept into the jungle in front of Lin Yuan. It was like a clay ox entering the sea. They did not even make the slightest sound, as if they had directly merged with the jungle. Lin Yuan walked and stopped. His pair of blue and white vertical pupils looked at the mountain in the distance. His mind was spinning rapidly, thinking about what kind of response the allied forces of the three clans would make after being attacked by the Shattering Stone clan. Fight to the death? Abandon the enemy to survive? As his thoughts spread out, Lin Yuan closed his eyes again and began to carefully observe the map. About 5 minutes later, a black fox patrolling the jungle quietly hid under a big tree. It lazily narrowed its eyes, as if it was preparing to take a nap and pass this difficult time. However, it did not notice that a pair of black eyes suddenly lit up in the crown of the big tree it was leaning against. Mengdo looked around. After confirming that there were no other demonic beasts in the surroundings, it used its legs to clamp down on the tree trunk and slowly slid down. A pair of large hands covered in silver fur slowly reached down and grabbed the neck of the black fox at lightning speed. Without waiting for the black fox to react, it directly twisted its neck. Dragging its dead body, it climbed back into the crown of the tree and hid, quietly waiting for the next prey. In its eyes, the allied forces of the three clans were nothing more than a motley crowd. Almost all of the black foxes patrolling the jungle were the Hunting Wind clan's black foxes. It was very obvious that Blizzard and Chunyin did not expect the Shattering Stone clan to take the initiative to attack. They also did not believe that this method of hiding under the light from the humans would be so clumsy. Instead of letting the demonic beasts under their command patrol, it was better to let them recuperate on the mountain and wait for the opportunity to immediately attack the Shattering Stone clan. Heh. Mengdo sneered and gestured with his hand. Then he quickly leaped onto another tree and approached the campsite of the three great clans in a careful, but not slow manner. Following Mengdo's movements, more and more mountain-shaking apes jumped between the trees. These apes, which were not thin and weak, were as nimble as a gust of wind. As they moved, there was not even the slightest bit of movement. Even when they jumped from one tree to another, not even a single leaf fell from the tree. In just 5 minutes, the number of black foxes that had been killed by the mountain-shaking apes was in the double digits. Although most of them were only level 7 beasts and could not determine the outcome of the battle, it was enough to make the Hunterwind clan feel the pinch. At the same time, in the camp on the mountain, Blizzard was lying on a tiger pelt. He squinted his eyes lazily and said in a deep voice, "My spies have confirmed that Mengdo and the Black Snake are holding a ceremony for the old ape's funeral. In my opinion, we should take advantage of this opportunity to take a bite out of the Gravel clan. As time drags on, they may be prepared." Ping Qiu furrowed his brows and did not say anything. In his eyes, Blizzard was just a brute who did whatever he wanted. He was so naive to think that after the death of the three-eyed ape, the Gravel clan would be so weak that they could not withstand a single blow. He was probably already dreaming of becoming the overlord of this area. After a while, Ping Qiu suddenly patted his head with his claws and said with a gloomy face, "Not good. I'm afraid Mengdo has already brought his underlings to our campsite." "What nonsense are you talking about?" Blizzard chuckled coldly and mocked. "Ping Qiu, are you still in a dream? The old ape of the Gravel clan is dead, and they are busy with the funeral. I've already arranged for White Claw to bring a group of intelligence perception demonic beasts to investigate the situation. It won't be long before the news of the old ape's death reaches us. Do you still think the Gravel clan has a chance to fight back? With just them?" "Shut up." Before Blizzard could finish, Chen Yan, who was also lying on the ground, suddenly stood up and interrupted Blizzard. Although he was not as resourceful as Ping Qiu, the Xian Turtle clan's talent was psychic divination. With his cultivation, he could not see the past or the future. However, he had a keen sense of danger in the face of life and death. The moment Ping Qiu spoke, he felt a great sense of danger. Clan leader, Black Snake. Black Snake and the apes of the Gravel clan have rushed into the campsite. A black fox with glossy fur scrambled to the front of the three clan leaders. There was a trace of panic on his face. There were more than 30 black foxes patrolling at the foot of the mountain. They did not even give out a warning. When they noticed the mountain-shaking apes, they had already killed their way into the campsite. "How dare you?" Blizzard roared and scolded. "Weren't you patrolling at the foot of the mountain? Why didn't you send any message and let them rush into the campsite? Are all of you incompetent people? I think you guys are the ones who lured those mountain-shaking apes here. This king will kill you today, and then fight off those mountain-shaking apes. Blizzard. With a dark face, Ping Qiu roared. Don't blame your stupidity and mistakes on other people. If you were willing to listen to me and arrange your demon beasts to patrol with the young men of the Hunting Wind clan, how could the situation have developed to this point? What is the meaning of this? Are you planning to tear my Hunterwind clan's men into pieces as a sacrifice to your flag? Do you want me to stretch my head out and let you kill me as a sacrifice? Blizzard and Ping Qiu, the two beast kings who had formed a temporary alliance, had not even seen a single demon beast from the Gravel clan. They were already on the verge of falling out with each other. A black fox and a frost wolf tensed up their muscles, and their hair stood on end. They looked at each other and began to walk in circles. Occasionally, they would raise their sharp claws as if they were ready to attack at any time. Let's fight first. Chen Yan spoke again in a low muffled voice and took the initiative to be the peacemaker. The three clans were originally a temporary alliance. Once the Gravel clan was defeated, they would immediately fall out with each other and decide the final winner to become the new overlord of this area. But that was a matter for the future, let alone falling apart. Even if the three clans lost any one of their forces, they would not be able to compete with the Gravel clan. During the Three-Eyed Apes era, if the phase in this area were to be divided into 4 portions, the Shatterstone clan would take away 2 portions, and the remaining 2 portions would be split among the 3 clans. Therefore, as time passed, the strength gap between the 2 clans had gradually widened to the current state. Chapter 82. Lin Yuan followed behind the main force of the Stony Stone clan. From time to time, he would launch a tail attack, whipping the demonic beasts that had adjusted their condition to meet the attack. The weaker demonic beasts couldn't even withstand a tail attack from Lin Yuan, and were directly turned into a pile of minced meat. However, demonic beasts of this level obviously couldn't provide Lin Yuan with attribute points. A pair of blue-white vertical pupils swept around, and the forms of demonic beasts flashed through Lin Yuan's mind. Not a single demonic beast of level 9 or above. It doesn't make sense. The allied forces of the 3 clans can't be so weak. Lin Yuan revealed a touch of a thoughtful look. The combined forces of the 3 clans could be equal to the Stony Stone clan, so there must be a lot of powerful demonic beasts. However, until now, the allied forces of the 3 clans had been attacked by the mountain-shaking apes, but not a single demonic beast of level 9 or above had appeared. It was as if the 3 clans had abandoned this place. Ding. Detected a level 9 demonic beast approaching 1,500 meters ahead. Ding. Detected a level 10 demonic beast approaching 1,500 meters ahead. Ding. Detected ahead. A series of system prompts sounded in Lin Yuan's mind. Lin Yuan was slightly startled. He subconsciously raised his head and looked at the black mass in front of him. These demonic beasts were actually playing the art of war? After the first round of killing, the mountain-shaking apes obviously didn't put the demonic beasts of the 3 clans in their eyes. The moment they saw these high-level demonic beasts appear, the bad-tempered mountain-shaking apes immediately roared. Without any hesitation or fear, they waved the stone sticks in their hands and counterattacked. When 2 armies were fighting, the formation was undoubtedly very important. Previously, when fighting for the blood spirit, 5 human soldiers wearing heavy armor could trap a wisdom state demonic beast. Although the demon beasts couldn't play with those too complicated things, it was not a problem for them to simply draw tigers and dogs. So Lin Yuan saw that the demon beasts were not as good as the mountain-shaking apes, but they were several times more in number. They scattered in 2s and 3s, dividing the mountain-shaking apes into small battle formations. On average, 3 or 4 demon beasts dealt with 1 mountain-shaking ape. Every time the mountain-shaking ape launched an attack, it would be attacked by 3 or 4 demon beasts at the same time. That's right, there was almost no defense to speak of. As long as the mountain-shaking ape dared to attack, they would attack at the first moment. It was a completely life-or-death battle. Gather. Regroup. Lin Yuan swung his serpentine tail as he roamed the battlefield. From time to time, he would destroy the enemy's formation and rescue the trapped mountain-shaking apes. Then, he signaled for them to follow behind him as they pushed deeper into the forest. As for those mountain-shaking apes that were further away and heavily injured, Lin Yuan didn't even spare them a glance. How could there be no sacrifices in war? Moreover, this was a war that he could not afford to lose. Na Qin, where's men do? Lin Yuan used his serpentine tail to shatter the shell of a level 9 black tortoise. After making sure that the tortoise was dead on the spot, he turned his head to look at the mountain-shaking ape that had been following him all this time. Ding! Congratulations to the host for killing a level 9 black tortoise with a tail attack. You have gained 0.5 attribute points. The system's notification sounded. It was better than nothing. Brother Mendu has already led a group of elites to kill their way in. He said that he wants to go directly to the 3 Beast Kings to settle the score. Lin Yuan's serpentine body trembled slightly as he felt a bitter taste in his mouth. Mendu was an outstanding fighter, and also a reliable ally. Under normal circumstances, Mendu's intelligence was definitely not inferior to that of an adult human. At most, he just lacks some experience. However, Mendu had a very violent temper. Sometimes, when his temper flared up, not to mention Lin Yuan, even the three-eyed ape might not be able to hold him back. The way these demonic beasts ambushed them had thoroughly angered Mendu. Therefore, Mendu chose to ignore the original plan and led his elites to find trouble with the 3 Beast Kings. Roar! Black Snake, your time of death has come. On the other side of the battlefield, a figure with a low, muffled voice suddenly sounded out. Rumble! Rumble! Immediately after, a huge black tortoise that was around 150 meters tall slowly appeared in Lin Yuan's line of sight. Looking at the opponent's thick, hard shell, Lin Yuan subconsciously swallowed a mouthful of saliva. His reputation in this area was simply too great. Even the blizzard was tarnishing his reputation. Therefore, when the real battle began, there would definitely be powerful demonic beasts looking for him. Lin Yuan had considered all of his opponents. The only one he hadn't considered was the leader of the Boulder tribe, Chen Yan. It wasn't that Lin Yuan was arrogant, nor was it that he didn't think highly of Chen Yan. It was just that when facing the other 2 Beast Kings, after activating the blood boil technique, Lin Yuan could still put up a fight. However, when facing Chen Yan, other than running away, Lin Yuan couldn't think of any other way to deal with him. As long as this giant tortoise shrank into its turtle shell, it would be able to endure the 3-minute boost from Lin Yuan's boiling blood technique. Then it would be able to easily kill Lin Yuan with its Wisdom Realm strength. Black Snake, I know what you're thinking. Unfortunately, against 2 demonic beasts of the same cultivation level, Mendu is useless no matter how strong it is. Even if it can deal with the blizzard and Ping Qiu, it definitely won't be able to help you in a short period of time. Once I devour you, I will definitely be able to advance further. At that time, it will be easy for me to deal with the blizzard and Ping Qiu. Chen Yan laughed coldly. He looked at Lin Yuan with a burning gaze, his eyes full of greed. Blizzard and Ping Qiu both wanted to destroy the Stone Tribe, so that their own tribe could become the overlord of this area. However, they were both mistaken about one thing. Right now, the most valuable thing in this area was definitely not the title of overlord. It was this black snake. This black snake had dragon blood in its body. Although it didn't know who the black snake's parents were, it could sense that Lin Yuan's body contained an incomparably dense amount of dragon blood. Tortoises and snakes seemed to be 2 different types of demonic beasts, but according to legends, they had the same ancestor, the dragon. Regardless of whether it was the 9 sons of the dragon described in the legends that Lin Yuan had heard of in his previous life, or the black tortoise, one of the 4 legendary demonic beasts, they were all tortoise demonic beasts. However, they all had dragon blood flowing in their bodies. The water dragon blood in Lin Yuan's body could not only attract other demonic beasts, but also Lin Yuan's blood. This was also the main reason why Chen Yan immediately ran out to look for Lin Yuan while the blizzard and Ping Qiu were busy dealing with men due in the Hengduan mountain range, where natural selection prevailed. Even the most simple-looking creatures would become purely selfish as long as they lived long enough. Chapter 83. Life was like chocolate. You would never know what the next piece would taste like. The moment he was stared at by Chen Yan, Lin Yuan felt as if he had eaten sh*t, but reality proved that even though Chen Yan was eyeing the water dragon bloodline in his body, the system was also eyeing Chen Yan. Ding, the host is facing a life and death crisis, triggering the special mission Cicada Intestine Turtle Belly. Name: Cicada Intestine Turtle Belly. Description: a demonic turtle with a thin dragon bloodline is eyeing the water dragon bloodline in your body. And to you who is destined to become the master of all beasts, this is undoubtedly a huge humiliation. Go fight. Tell this demonic turtle what a true dragon is. Mission requirement: kill Chen Yan. Mission restriction: cannot leave the battle on your own accord. Mission reward: randomly draw a system template. Failure punishment: death. What a coincidence. I also feel that after swallowing you, I can also advance a step. Lin Yuan's blue-white vertical pupils flashed with a faint cold light. Tail strike close distance. Death coil adjust body. The moment Lin Yuan's voice fell, the huge snake body had already wrapped around Chen Yan's body. But no matter how Lin Yuan retracted his snake body, he was unable to cause any damage to Chen Yan's turtle shell. You want to hurt me with just you? Chen Yan was caught off guard by Lin Yuan's sudden attack. At the beginning he was still a bit flustered. After all, according to the legends, Lin Yuan killed an intelligent state demonic beast with the strength of a level 10 demonic beast. But after Lin Yuan's attack failed, the nervousness in Chen Yan's eyes completely disappeared. Rumors were after all just rumors. He didn't see it with his own eyes. Who knew if Lin Yuan really killed an intelligent state demonic beast? However, Chen Yan did not act like a fool. Seeing that Lin Yuan was unable to break through his defense, he did not have the intention to play around and allow Lin Yuan to attack him as he wished. Instead, he erupted with the agility that did not belong to a tortoise-type demon beast. He directly retracted his head, tail, and forelimbs into the tortoise shell, and then frantically spun out like a spinning top. Lin Yuan was wrapped around Chen Yan's tortoise shell, spinning crazily with Chen Yan. In a short moment, Lin Yuan felt dizzy, and a few golden stars appeared in front of his eyes. Half of his vision turned black, and his head kept shaking. Although Lin Yuan's entanglement couldn't hurt Chen Yan, it didn't mean that Chen Yan couldn't feel it at all. As Lin Yuan entered the dizzy state, Chen Yan could clearly feel that the snake that was strangling him loosened a little. Instantly he was overjoyed. He immediately controlled the rotating tortoise body and slammed it into the trees and rocks beside him, just like how Lin Yuan had killed those human warriors wrapped in heavy armor. How terrifying was the strength of an intelligence realm demon beast. In the blink of an eye, Lin Yuan had already slammed into the tortoise more than 10 times. Although he resisted the dizziness and activated the golden body secrets, the places that were not covered by the golden body secrets were still smashed into a bloody mess. Even in the dizziness state, Lin Yuan could clearly feel the pain. It was as if half of his organs had been smashed. Lin Yuan could even feel that his life was flowing away. Boom. Once again he landed heavily on the ground. Lin Yuan opened his bloody mouth and spat out a large mouthful of blood, mixed with countless pieces of flesh and fragments of organs. Little black snake, you don't seem to be able to make it. Chen Yan glanced at Lin Yuan from the corner of his eyes, his mouth continuously laughing coldly. Lin Yuan was silent and did not say a word. His pair of blue-white vertical pupils were slightly blank, as if he was thinking about something. Seeing Lin Yuan's absent-minded appearance, Chen Yan did not know why a nameless fire rose up in his heart. At this time, this black snake was firmly suppressed by him. But not only did it not concentrate all of its attention to fight with him, it even had an indifferent appearance. He could not help but ask in a low voice, "Black Snake, what are you thinking about?" "I'm thinking how you will die." In Lin Yuan's blue-white vertical pupils, a cold light suddenly flashed. In the next moment, the snake's body was like a black pillar, suddenly opening its bloody mouth and biting the head of Chen Yan, who was hiding in the tortoise shell. Furthermore, it crazily injected its own venom into the wound. "You're courting death." Chen Yan roared angrily and similarly opened his mouth, biting Lin Yuan's neck. One snake and one tortoise, like this, were in a strange stalemate. The surrounding demonic beasts looked at each other, but no one dared to provoke these two behemoths. The real elites were fighting with Mengdu City. Other than Chen Yan, most of the people gathered here were cannon fodder that Ping Qiu had arranged beforehand. Naturally, they did not dare to provoke the two big bosses at this time. The proficiency of the dove wine poison jumped wildly, but this amount of poison was obviously not enough to take the life of a huge monster like Chen Yan. Under the terrifying bite of the other party, Lin Yuan's dark golden snake body, which had been tempered by the golden body technique, kept creaking. Friendly reminder, the golden body technique has previously reached the small perfection realm. Although the host is now not far from the great perfection realm, the system feels that the host can temporarily put the attribute points aside in the face of danger. Does the host wish to advance the golden body technique in advance? The system's voice rang in his ear like a sudden clap of thunder, instantly waking Lin Yuan up. What the hell? You're waiting for me here. Lin Yuan clearly remembered the system's last meaningful tone. This B***starred must have planned for this day, right? Creak, creak. The grinding sounds that made one's teeth ache continued to ring in their ears. Lin Yuan's face was ashen. He gritted his teeth and said, "System, advance the golden body technique for me." The moment he said that, Lin Yuan felt a warm current flowing around his body. The original dark golden color was instantly transformed into a light gold color. Although the color was still not good-looking, compared to the dirty dark golden color he had before, the light gold color now was obviously more pleasing to the eye. Looking good was secondary. The main thing was that Lin Yuan's defense had increased by another level. With the help of the dragon scale armor, Lin Yuan's defense was definitely not as strong as the black tortoises, but it was definitely not a match for him among the level 10 monsters. The second level of the golden body technique gave him a 45% damage reduction effect, and the screeching sound came to an abrupt end. Did it advance? Chen Yan's face sank, and he began to ponder. No monster would suddenly become stronger. The black snake's transformation clearly came from its advancement. Intelligent perception monsters were not as easy to distinguish as level 1 to level 10 monsters. If a monster at this stage wanted to distinguish between friend and foe, it could only use its heart to feel the monster energy spreading out from the other party's body. Chapter 84. The two giant beasts were in a stalemate, biting each other, and neither was willing to let go. The terrifying bite force could easily kill an airborne realm human, but in front of the tyrannical physique of the monster, this bite force seemed to be laughably weak. Even if Lin Yuan and Chen Yan were frantically shaking their heads, trying to tear a piece of flesh from each other, both of their efforts were in vain. As time passed, Chen Yan's eyes suddenly flashed with a touch of horror. He had always thought that the rumor that this black snake had defeated the Wisdom Realm monster was just a rumor made up by the three-eyed ape in order to stabilize the situation in the Stoneclaw forest. But now he gradually began to believe it. In addition to the innate ability of divination, the Xian Turtle clan also had the terrifying defense that all turtle-type monsters had. Even if it left its hard shell, its skin could not be penetrated by anything. But Lin Yuan's snake fangs easily pierced into its flesh, and the pale golden scales on the black snake's body seemed to be not inferior to its shell in terms of defense. Ding. The Wisdom Realm monster Chen Yan is afraid. Does the host choose to end this battle? Friendly reminder. If the host ends this battle now, it will not be considered as taking the initiative to leave the battle. The mission will be cancelled, and the host will not be given any punishment or reward. The system's electronically synthesized voice slowly sounded. Lin Yuan's blue-white vertical pupils flashed with a touch of ridicule. The so-called Beast King, it was just SOSO. He knew what Chen Yan was afraid of. After all, even if Ping Qiu and Blizzard joined forces, they might not be able to take down Mengdu. If he could not take down Lin Yuan in a short time, the top combat power of the three clans' allied forces would be restrained. In the previous wave of the White Claw, they had lost more than 20 Wisdom Realm monsters. Their current military strength could not be compared to the Stoneclaw clan at all. The longer the battle dragged on, the more disadvantageous it would be for the three clans. But the problem was, give up now? If it was before the system issued the quest, Lin Yuan might have chosen not to fight Chen Yan head-on. After all, Facing a monster like him that specialized in defense, Lin Yuan would not be able to gain any advantage. However, now that he had suffered a loss, even the golden body technique had advanced in advance. In the future, if he wanted to use attribute points to strengthen the golden body technique, he would have to pay an additional attribute point as a price. If he did not obtain the system reward of a template draw, then he would have suffered a great loss. In that split second, Chunyan actually took the initiative to let go of his mouth, allowing Lin Yuan to bite his head. He said in a muffled voice, "Black Snake, the war between the 3 clans and the Shattered Stone clan has nothing to do with you. Why do you want to stay here and risk your life against me? How about this? You let go of me, and after we defeat the Gravel clan, I will guarantee that you can establish your own force in this area. How about it?" Lin Yuan sneered in his heart, and continued to inject the dove wine poison into Chunyan. When fighting monsters of a higher level, the speed of increase in proficiency would also increase significantly. Every time Lin Yuan's poison sac secreted poison, the proficiency on the attribute panel would jump around 3 to 5 points. Therefore, Lin Yuan firmly believed that even if his poison had no effect on Chunyan, as long as he persevered, he would be able to poison Chunyan to death sooner or later. He did not believe that with only a difference of a large level, Chunyan could withstand the second advancement of the poison. If that was the case, was there still a need for poisonous snake monsters to exist? Good. It seems that you are determined to be enemies with me. Then don't blame me. Chunyan saw that Lin Yuan had no intention of stopping, and his eyes did not show any shame or anger. He did not open his mouth again like Lin Yuan. Lin Yuan was wrapped in the scales of the golden body technique, but his 4 feet fiercely stomped on the ground. Boom. A loud sound spread out for hundreds of meters, and it was still reverberating. With Lin Yuan and Chunyan as the center, the land within hundreds of meters collapsed for nearly 1,000 meters out of thin air. Within this range, whether it was the demonic beasts under the command of the 3 major clans, or the mountain-shaking apes that followed Lin Yuan to break out of the encirclement, as long as they fell, they would directly turn into meat paste. Moreover, they would not fall to their deaths. At this level of monsters, as long as their bodies spread out, they would be more than 100 meters long. A mere 1,000 meters was not enough to kill these naturally strong monsters. What really killed them were the earth spikes that extended from the broken soil. Even if it was a 10th level monster, under the cutting of the earth spikes, their skin would be as fragile as white paper. Fresh blood, minced meat, and internal organs covered the bottom of this sinkhole. Lin Yuan maintained the posture of biting Chunyan, and followed Chunyan to the bottom of the sinkhole. Those sharp earth spikes cut Lin Yuan's body, which was not covered by the golden body technique, full of holes. There were even dozens of earth spikes that penetrated Lin Yuan's pitch-black snake body. Even the scales of the flood dragon could not withstand their penetration. A little interesting. You can actually withstand my heaven-falling earth-sinking strike. Your flesh and blood must be very delicious. Chunyan licked his lips with his tongue, and said in a cruel tone, "This is a talent that I have painstakingly cultivated. I can only use it once every 3 days. Originally, I wanted to leave it for that damn monkey in Mendu, but using it on you is not too much of a waste. I gave you a chance just now, but you did not cherish it. Now." As Chunyan's voice fell, the 4 walls of earth began to slowly move, as if they wanted to bury Chunyan and Lin Yuan alive. However, Chunyan was after all an earth attribute monster. Even if he was buried underground, he would be able to move freely for a short period of time like a fish in water. But Lin Yuan? Haha. Chunyan looked at Lin Yuan who was biting him, and the greed in his eyes became more and more intense. It was as if Lin Yuan had become a delicacy in his eyes. The rain came. Lin Yuan's blue-white vertical pupils did not waver. Being buried alive in the sinkhole, that suffocation could easily take his life. However, Lin Yuan did not think that Chunyan would live long enough to take his life. The moment the blood sacrifice wishing technique was activated, Chunyan suddenly realized that whether it was his own blood, Lin Yuan's blood, or even the blood of the monsters that died in the sinkhole, all of it was instantly sucked clean by some strange force. Not even a trace of blood was left. Rumble, rumble. the clear sky was suddenly covered by dark clouds. Thick bolts of lightning struck down, turning the forest into a charred black color. However, before the mountain fire could spread, a downpour had already followed. Moreover, it was a terrifying downpour. In just a few breaths of time, the water in the sinkhole had already reached the top of Chun Yan's feet. If it had to be converted to an exact distance, it would be a height of about 3 to 4 meters. Chapter 85. Humph. Chun Yan snorted coldly. He heard that the last time Lin Yuan killed an intelligence perception demonic beast, there was also a rainstorm. Originally, he thought that it was just a coincidence, but now, how could he not guess that the two rainstorms were summoned by Lin Yuan? Summoning the clouds and summoning the rain did not sound like much. After all, no matter how heavy the rain was, it could not smash or drown the opponent. But with this kind of talent, to demonic beasts, the difference was like the difference between clouds and mud. Don't look at how humans crazily hunted demonic beasts, using the demonic beast's flesh and demonic beast's core as capital to become stronger. However, when faced with a demonic beast that could summon clouds and summon rain, even the monarchs of the 7 great dynasties had to be somewhat courteous. They might even have to carve out a portion of their own territory and worship this demonic beast as the local god, allowing this demonic beast to protect the land and ensure that drought would not affect the farming and harvest of the land. The worship of the human dynasties was secondary. Chun Yan, who came from a large clan, was very clear that those demonic beasts that received the worship could really be reaped. The term god was very distant from demonic beasts, but after receiving the worship, the demonic beast's cultivation speed would rapidly increase. The more believers there were, the faster their cultivation speed would be. Therefore, any talent that could protect the land and water of a living being was envied by countless demonic beasts. Lin Yuan did not know what Chun Yan was thinking. Even if he knew, he would not care. Summoning the clouds and summoning the rain was a skill of the dragon clan. Even a flood dragon could do it easily. The previous rain took away a third of Lin Yuan's blood. But this rain, with the bloodline of the flood dragon, only took away a seventh of Lin Yuan's blood. In addition to the other blood sacrifices, the scale of this rain was several times larger than the previous rain. In the legends of his previous life, there was the existence of the heavenly law that restricted the dragon clan. For example, if the heavenly court wanted a place to suffer from a drought, if the local dragon king reigned, he would be captured by the heavenly soldiers and executed. But in this world, as long as Lin Yuan was willing, he could summon the rain at any time, or block the rain that was about to fall. Eat you, as long as I eat you, all of this will be mine. Chun Yan's eyes turned red from jealousy, and even his voice became ferocious. The crazed Chun Yan even forgot to reserve any energy to deal with sudden situations. His eyes were red as he looked at Lin Yuan. The speed of the earth wall closing in on him increased dramatically, as if it could not wait any longer. You're crazy. Lin Yuan glanced at Chun Yan from the corner of his eyes. He took the initiative to let go of Chun Yan and retreated 2 meters. Chun Yan glanced at Lin Yuan, who suddenly retreated, and said in a low voice, "Black Snake, save it. I know what you're planning. However, my Xian Turtle clan is also an aquatic demonic beast. Even if you fill this sinkhole with rainwater, I can still come and go as I please." The rainwater had accumulated to a depth of more than 30 meters at the bottom of the sinkhole, almost covering 1/5 of Chun Yan's body. The earth wall had already come into contact with Lin Yuan's snake tail, but those sharp earth spikes didn't succeed in piercing through Lin Yuan's second-order golden body technique. Bang! Soil flew everywhere. The earth wall behind him was smashed into pieces by Lin Yuan's tail. Although it didn't completely collapse, large amounts of soil had already fallen down, dyeing the water in the sinkhole a murky color. A pair of blue-white vertical pupils slowly looked up. Lin Yuan opened his mouth and lightly flicked out his snake tongue. He slowly asked with his mind, "If the water can't kill you, then what about ice?" "Ice? What ice?" Chun Yan was slightly startled and didn't react. In the next moment, the 30-meter deep water was lifted up by an invisible hand and instantly formed into a water ball, directly enveloping Chun Yan. Before Chen Yan could break out of the water, traces of white cold air, visible to the naked eye, spread out in all directions with the water ball as the center. Crack, crack. The huge water ball, in the blink of an eye, turned into a huge ice ball and directly enveloped Chen Yan. Innate talents weren't skills with fixed damage. Those skills would only improve by leaps and bounds when they were upgraded. However, innate abilities were different. When Lin Yuan became stronger, his innate ability would also become stronger. When he first planned to freeze Batu, he was still a Class 7 monster. Now he was already a Class 10 monster. If the battle between him and Batu was repeated, he only needed a thought to easily freeze Batu to death. If Chen Yan was in his peak state, even if Lin Yuan used ice to control him, it would be useless. This was because he only needed to shake his body slightly to easily shatter the ice around him. However, at this moment, a large amount of poison had accumulated in Chen Yan's body. Although it wasn't fatal, if it wasn't expelled, it would still have some effect on his body. In addition, he released the Collapse of Heaven and Earth ability to instantly kill hundreds of monsters. Although it seemed very powerful, this kind of terrifying area of effectability was often accompanied by an intense consumption of energy. Otherwise, Chen Yan naturally wouldn't have been affected in the battle and directly become crazy. Kacha, kacha. The sound rang out once again, and cracks gradually appeared on the ice ball that was controlling Chen Yan. Lin Yuan didn't reveal the slightest trace of panic. On the contrary, there was only a faint ridicule in his eyes. It was as if he had already grasped victory in his hands. The terrifying rainstorm continued. When it fell on the bodies of other monsters, it would instantly wet their fur. Even some of the more agile frost wolves and black foxes began to become clumsy under this kind of storm. However, the mountain-shaking apes were obviously not used to this kind of weather. Although the rain couldn't harm them, they couldn't even open their eyes in this kind of environment. They could only follow their instincts and wave the stone sticks in their hands. Fortunately, after Lin Yuan and Chen Yan disappeared from the battlefield, the mountain-shaking apes behind Lin Yuan once again followed their instincts and spread out to fight with the monsters of the three clans. Previously, the mountain-shaking apes gathered together because Lin Yuan took the lead. According to their battle habits, they still liked to spread out to different positions. After all, if their companions stood too close to each other, the stone sticks in their hands wouldn't be able to be used. And when the rainwater fell into the pit, it would turn into pieces of ice. It would attach to the huge ice ball in front of Lin Yuan and continue to strengthen the ice ball's control. No matter how Chen Yan crashed into the ice ball, the outer layer of ice would become thicker and thicker. Roar! Chen Yan roared angrily. Gathering all his strength, he chose a direction and suddenly launched a collision. This time, the ice ball didn't have time to control Chen Yan. He forcibly broke a hole in the ice ball. Half of the tortoise's body was once again exposed to the air. Chapter 86. Whoosh! Poochie! Without giving Chen Yan a chance to catch his breath, the pale golden snake tail suddenly shot out and pierced into Chen Yan's left eye. Chen Yan's face was filled with disbelief. To Lin Yuan, the innate ability to control ice was not like the magic in novels, where he could just throw it out after chanting an incantation. It was more like an extension of his body, so all of Chen Yan's movements within the ice ball were within Lin Yuan's control. Although he did not continue to control Chen Yan, Lin Yuan was still able to see where Chen Yan would break out of the ice ball. The eyes are the weakness of any living creature, because no matter how hard your bones are, there will still be holes. Behind the eyeball is a thin layer of flesh and mucous membrane, where the optic nerve is located. I only need to increase my strength by a little bit, and I will be able to pierce through this layer of obstruction, directly turning your brain into paste. I'm very curious, for a powerful beast king like you, after having your brain turned into paste by me, will you be able to live? Lin Yuan maintained his posture of piercing Chen Yan's eye with his snake tail, and his mouth once again cracked open, revealing a smile. A human-like smile, but it made Chen Yan feel as if he had fallen into an ice cave. When he was just being controlled in the ice ball, the surrounding cold air did not make him feel cold at all. But this smile of Lin Yuan's made his whole body tremble like a sieve. Don't. No. I am willing to serve you as my master. Please let me go. Chen Yan's voice became louder and louder, his breathing became more and more hurried, and in the end, he was almost shouting hysterically. He indeed coveted Lin Yuan's flesh and the dragon blood in his body, but this did not mean that he was willing to give up his life for a good meal. In a true life and death situation, no living creature would be able to disregard life and death. Perhaps there were a few monsters who could hide such emotions, but obviously, Chen Yan was not one of them. Ding. Congratulations, host, an intelligent state demonic beast has pledged loyalty to you. Do you accept? The system's voice directly sounded in Lin Yuan's mind, and even the thunder in the sky could not block it. System, do you have any suggestions? Lin Yuan's blue-white vertical pupils flashed with a hint of surprise. The system fell silent. Lin Yuan looked at Chen Yan thoughtfully, a hesitant expression appearing in his blue-white vertical pupils. The lifespan of a tortoise-type demon beast was extremely long. Even though Chen Yan, Blizzard, and Pingqia were all beast kings, it had probably lived in the Stoneclaw forest for a longer period of time than the three-eyed ape. Furthermore, it had the strength of the peak of the wisdom realm. If he could obtain Chen Yan's loyalty, Lin Yuan would be able to take a huge step forward in establishing his own force. However, defeating Chen Yan this time was mostly due to luck. If Chen Yan's submission was only a temporary measure, then the next time they fought, Lin Yuan might not be able to subdue a beast king of Chen Yan's level. Sorry, I don't need it. Lin Yuan's gaze suddenly became resolute. In the next moment, his pale golden snake tail suddenly thrust forward and pierced deeply into Chen Yan's skull, crushing his brain that had lost its protection. The Xian turtle beast king that had resided in the Stonetlan forest for an unknown number of years lost its life force completely at this moment. Ding. Congratulations to the host for completing the special mission, Cicada's Guts and Turtle's Belly. Calculating the reward. Ding. Congratulations to the host for obtaining a random system template item X1. At the same time the system broadcast sounded, Lin Yuan also pulled out his snake tail. A beast king's smile was indeed very attractive to him, but in the face of the system's promise of a random system template item, whether Chen Yan was truly loyal or not, it didn't seem that important. With the help of the damn system, Lin Yuan's own strength was the true strength. He couldn't expect Chen Yan to risk his life to help him when the system gave him a mission, could he? System, directly use the template item. I want a new function now. Lin Yuan didn't hesitate for a moment and directly used the item. Template item is being extracted. Ding. Congratulations to the host for obtaining a system template. Territory. There wasn't a turntable like he had imagined, not even a light spot. When the item was removed from his backpack, Lin Yuan had already obtained his new function. The corner of Lin Yuan's eyes twitched as he let out a long sigh. He had still somewhat underestimated the system. This bastard thing was even more shameless than he had imagined. Following the appearance of the relationship and war templates one after another, Lin Yuan had a faint premonition in his heart that the appearance of the territory template was only a matter of time. Even when the promotion mission was completed, there was a possibility that he would be rewarded with a territory template item. But at this moment, the template was directly extracted by him. If this wasn't the system's manipulation, Lin Yuan would have already performed a wave of handstand shampoo. As for what function this template had, Lin Yuan didn't know at the moment, nor did he have the opportunity to find out. After all, the current him didn't even have a territory. The outer area of the beast forest could only be considered as a nest and not a territory. Under his command, there were no clans like the four major clans of the Stoneclaw forest to fight for him. At most, there was only one Batu. It could bully the low-level beasts in the beast forest, but in a battlefield like this, it was completely a cannon fodder-level existence. Hiss. The snake spat out its tongue. Long ice swords violently swept out, instantly crushing the earth spikes on the surrounding earth walls. Then the ice cubes formed a huge throne under Lin Yuan's body, slowly lifting him up from the 1,000-meter-deep pit. Black snake. It's the black snake. In the curtain of rain, some of the more tyrannical beasts looked at Lin Yuan in disbelief. After all, regardless of shape or size, The difference between the black snake and the black tortoise was not small. Lin Yuan had once again returned to this battlefield, but Chun Yen had already completely disappeared. Although they didn't know what happened in the heaven pit, they were very clear that the black snake was the final victor between the two. A 10th grade demonic beast first killed an intelligence enlightenment stage dove snake, and today he actually killed an intelligence enlightenment stage black tortoise? When did a 10th grade demonic beast become so tyrannical? Those who surrender will be spared from death. Lin Yuan sat cross-legged on the ice throne. His blue-white vertical pupils were not affected by the curtain of rain in the slightest. They coldly swept across the demonic beasts that were still fighting. Following his gaze, the demonic beasts of the 3 great clans all lay on the ground, as if they didn't dare to challenge the dignity of their king. A peak intelligence enlightenment stage beast king had died in the hands of the black snake. The strongest among them was merely a 10th grade demonic beast. What right did they have to clamor with Lin Yuan? Na Qin, you're in charge of guarding the captives. The wounded go back. Also, inform the wise ones to come and clean up the mess. Another batch of demonic beasts that can still fight, come with me. We'll go and help them. Lin Yuan's voice wasn't loud, but when it fell into the ears of the demonic beasts, it was as if even the sound of thunder and rain was suppressed. Very soon, there will be an explosive update event. At that time, there will be at least 8 chapters a day. Right now, I'm collecting chapters. Everyone, please be patient. Thank you very much. Chapter 87. Mountain Blocking City, City Lord Mansion. A middle-aged man with sinister eyes slowly raised his head. His long and narrow peach blossom eyes narrowed slightly as he looked at Tai Shou, who was standing at the door of his study room. He said in a dignified tone, Captain Tai said that a war involving 4 clans has broken out in the Hengduan Mountains. Do you have any evidence? The 3-eyed ape of the Stony Stone clan is about to die. I don't think it's a secret. Under such circumstances, the Hunting Wind, Boulder, and Winterwolf clans are vying for the position of overlord. I don't think it's a secret either. In addition, there have been many Class 8 to Class 10 demonic beasts in the Demonic Beast Forest near the Stoneclaw Forest recently. It's obvious that something has happened in the Stoneclaw Forest. With so many signs, why is the City Lord still asking me for evidence? Tai Shou raised his eyebrows and said in a contemptuous tone, I heard that the Imperial Court transferred the City Lord here to wash away the shame of signing the treaty back then, and bring the outer region of the Hengduan Mountains back into the hunting range of our dynasty. Now, you don't cherish such a good opportunity. Could it be that the City Lord still wants to rest and recuperate? The City Lord's face sank, but he didn't refute. He only frowned slightly and asked, Captain Tai, are you teaching me how to do things? This commoner doesn't dare. Tai Shou smiled and cupped his hands. I'm just teaching the City Lord how to deal with demonic beasts. You. The City Lord suddenly stood up, his gaze becoming increasingly sinister. Facing a Heaven Realm expert, Tai Shou wasn't afraid at all. He just said slowly, City Lord, I'm not asking you to take down the Stoneclaw Forest. As long as you agree to send troops to restrain the high-level demonic beasts that have fled into the Demonic Beast Forest, I'll naturally bring my subordinates into the Stoneclaw Forest and wait for an opportunity to kill the Beast Kings of the 4 clans. There was no need to be too explicit when talking between smart people. The City Lord had already reacted. Tai Shou was a demon slayer who made a living in the mountain blocking city. Offending him would only bring more harm than good. However, he still chose to use such a tough attitude to request for the City Lord to send troops. Obviously, Tai Shou had something important to do in the Hengduan Mountains. After pondering for a moment, the City Lord slowly nodded his head and said in a deep voice, I will send troops to restrain the high-level demonic beasts in the periphery of the Demonic Beasts Forest. But remember, if you don't get anything from this trip, you'll have to dig a hole in the Hengduan Mountains and bury yourself. It wasn't that he was intimidated by iron arms. It was just that the signs of war between the Stoneclaw Forest's 4 great clans were very obvious. As an imperial envoy sent by the Imperial Court to deal with the demonic beasts, if he didn't take any action at this time, the Imperial Court would definitely send someone to hold him accountable. It was even possible that he would be punished to the very end. Don't worry, City Lord. If I don't gain anything from this trip, I will bring my own head to see you. Taisho smiled and cupped his hands. His gaze landed on the City Lord's long and narrow peach blossom eyes, but he was secretly puzzled in his heart. Ever since he left the Liu family, he had been unconscious at home for 3 days. Other than sending back the benefits that the Liu family had given him, he did not have any memories of that day. However, the killing intent in his heart towards that black snake had become increasingly obvious. If it was in the past, even if he had the guts as big as the sky, he would not dare to offend the City Lord. But today he did it so naturally that he felt a little strange. Half an hour later, a troop composed of heavily armored warriors, large shield soldiers, archers, and artillery slowly moved out of Mountain Blocking City and plunged into the demonic beast forest. All the demonic beasts that they encountered along the way were all killed. They only encountered a group of high-level demonic beasts after advancing for hundreds of miles. The two sides were divided by a river and began to enter a deadlock. However, neither side noticed that a team of 20 people, led by a figure in a black robe, was slowly making their way towards the Stoneclaw forest along a small mountain path that was filled with thorns. 2 flowers bloomed, one on each side. Lin Yuan's gaze fell on all the demonic beasts that had chosen to bow their heads. They no longer dared to face the black snake that had killed Chen Yan. At the very least, before the outcome of the battle in Mendu was decided, they no longer dared to resist. Ding! There is a new message in the war template. Please check it. Suddenly, a cold electronic synthesized voice sounded in Lin Yuan's mind, directly suppressing the words that Lin Yuan had prepared to use to boost morale. He could only use his mind to activate the war template, as if he had swallowed a fly. Force war template. Name: Battle for the Stoneclaw Forest. Ongoing. Attackers: Winter Wolf, Crack Rock, extremely weak. Defenders: Broken Stone, Blackwater, relatively weak. Evaluation: You have obtained the initial advantage. In a spurt of energy, you have completely defeated the enemy. Victory reward: Receive 300 war points. Failure punishment: Pay 300 war points. Isn't this good? Is this dog system lying to me again? A trace of doubt flashed in Lin Yuan's eyes. Ding, ding, ding. Feeling Lin Yuan's resentment, a red exclamation mark in the war template was jumping wildly. Lin Yuan tried to use his mind to tap on the jumping red exclamation mark. Suddenly, a new message appeared in front of Lin Yuan. Name: Black Snake Defense War Attackers. Liu Family of Mountain Blocking City, City Lord Mansion of Mountain Blocking City, Iron Hand Regiment, Yao Ming relatively weak, Defenders, Blackwater, Demonic Beast Forest Temporary Alliance, relatively weak, Victory Reward. Receive 500 war points. Failure punishment: Pay 500 war points. Note: This war is extremely special. The host cannot take the initiative to leave the war. The war will only end when the other party gives up, fails, or dies. The host must live well in this war to protect himself. What the hell? Lin Yuan almost vomited. Last time he had only killed 2 Class 9 demonic beasts, and the City Lord Mansion of Mountain Blocking City's relationship with him had fallen by a lot. This time, after he killed Chen Yan, the City Lord Mansion of Mountain Blocking City actually joined forces with the Liu family and the demon-subduing master to suppress him? Could it be that Chen Yan was also a demonic beast reared by the City Lord Mansion? Could it be that the City Lord of Mountain Blocking City also had something like a system? Otherwise, how could the City Lord Mansion of Mountain Blocking City form an army to suppress him right after he killed Chen Yan? Even those high-level demonic beasts who had escaped the war and hid in the demonic beast forest did not know about this. How did the humans know? However, what did Yao Ming mean? For a moment, Lin Yuan could not determine whether Yao Ming was a demonic beast or simply the name of a certain force. However, judging from the current situation, the main force of this army should have been blocked by the high-level demonic beasts who had escaped from the demonic beast forest. However, he could not rule out the possibility that the other party would send experts to kill him. Chapter 88. Lin Yuan swung his snake tail in annoyance. With the help of the system, He had already confirmed that the humans had begun to attack the Hengduan mountain range, and that they were coming for him. If it were any other time, the demonic beasts in the Hengduan mountain range would definitely join forces to deal with the humans. However, the 4 major clans were already in a frenzy, and it was impossible for them to make peace, let alone join forces against a common enemy. In addition, Lin Yuan had no way to explain how he had received news that the humans from Mountain Blocking City had begun to move towards the Stoneclaw Forest. Therefore, Lin Yuan directly rejected the plan of joining forces with the 3 major clans to fight against the humans. Let's end this quickly. Before they arrive, we must wipe out the 3 major clans. Lin Yuan's eyes were cold as he wriggled his black snake body and began to wriggle towards the center of the temporary campsite. There were more than 10 Class 9 demonic beasts blocking his way. Lin Yuan swung his snake tail impatiently and directly whipped these demonic beasts into a pile of mincemeat. Other than pausing for a moment when he attacked, Lin Yuan did not stop at all. It was as if he did not believe that these Class 9 demonic beasts could withstand his attack. Ding! Congratulations to host for killing Class 9 demonic beast, Black Fox. 0. 3 attribute points gained. Ding! Congratulations to host for killing Class 9 demonic beast, Black Tortoise. 0. 1 attribute points gained. A series of system announcements rang out. Unfortunately, the attribute points that had been received were all 0 points. More than 10 demonic beasts did not even give Lin Yuan 5 attribute points. Before he reached the wisdom state, the benefits from those experts that he had to risk his life to kill were extremely small. However, the benefits from demonic beasts that were of the same level as him were even smaller. Therefore, he was now stuck in a position that was neither too high nor too low. This uncomfortable feeling made Lin Yuan's desire to complete the urgent mission even more urgent. Mendu, although you are publicly acknowledged as valiant, this king did not expect that you were actually hiding your strength. If this king had not been careful, this king would have lost his life just now. However, it's time for this king to show his prowess. 100-meter-long wolf with snow-white fur arched its body and slowly appeared in Lin Yuan's sight. The Blizzard of the Winterwolf clan was also the culprit who joined forces with the other 2 clans to attack the Stonestone clan, directly causing Lin Yuan's second emergency quest to start in hell mode. However, at this moment, Blizzard didn't look like a wolf king at all. Although his fur was still white, one of his hind legs was dragging on the ground. It was obvious that his bones were broken and he couldn't exert any strength. From his previous words, it was obvious that this injury was caused by Mendo's fatal blow. Hiss! The snake flicked its tongue. Thick pillars of water gathered around Lin Yuan. In an instant, 9 water dragons appeared and charged towards Blizzard's back. The battle between demonic beasts was a battle of life and death. There was no such thing as learning from each other, or practicing with each other. Therefore, Lin Yuan's sneak attack was fast and ruthless. The 9 water dragons were aimed at Blizzard's hind leg that Mendu had broken. With his current strength, it was not an easy task to gather 9 water dragons under the pouring rain. On the way here, he had swallowed the corpses of 7 level 9 demonic beasts. The warm energy that had gathered in his body had been absorbed by the 9 water dragons. However, with the appearance of the 9 water dragons, Lin Yuan could clearly feel that 2/3 of the energy in his body had been sucked away. Oh! Blizzard didn't even turn its head and roared with a hoarse voice. The wind and snow rose slowly and froze the 9 water dragons one by one. In an instant, the 9 water dragons froze half a meter behind Blizzard. They could no longer move forward. Black Snake. Pingqiu, who had also steadied himself, was shocked and subconsciously cried out in surprise. He clearly remembered that Chun Yan had led a group of elites to reinforce the mountain quaking apes in order to stop them from attacking. After that, there was no news from them. He had thought that Chun Yan was devouring the black snake. But now, the black snake had led dozens of mountain quaking apes, who were covered in wounds but had an unusually strong fighting spirit, to this place. Then, in the battle between Chun Yan and Black Snake, it was clear who had won and who had lost. In fact, this was also the reason why the cunning and calm Pingqiu cried out in surprise. Among the 3 clans, the Xian Turtle clan was the best at defense. For example, Mendu's rod had broken one of Blizzard's legs. However, if the same attack landed on Chunyan, it would at most crack his turtle shell. It wouldn't cause any serious injuries to Chunyan. Black Snake. Blizzard's movements also stiffened. His face was ugly as he turned his head. He had never thought that Chunyan would be defeated by the Black Snake. Even more so, he didn't think that the Black Snake would be able to defeat Chunyan in such a short period of time. This unbelievable battle speed even made Blizzard suspect that Chunyan had betrayed them and deliberately allowed the Black Snake to cause trouble. I didn't want to interfere in the battle between the two of you, but that big turtle is a little lacking. I've just warmed up and I want to exercise a little. I wonder which one of you is willing to be my opponent? Lin Yuan's blue-white vertical pupils didn't blink. When his gaze landed on Ping Qiu and Blizzard, it didn't even cause a ripple in his eyes. This scene made Ping Qiu's heart sink. He looked at Blizzard with an embarrassed expression. It could faintly feel that the Black Snake was not bluffing. Instead, it really had the confidence to deal with one of them, and its chances of winning were not small. Otherwise, the Black Snake's eyes would not be so calm. Are you trying to trick me? Blizzard glanced sideways and said in a low voice, Ping Qiu, delay Mendu. This king can kill this arrogant Black Snake in 2 rounds. Ping Qiu's mouth twitched. He couldn't help but turn his head to look at Mendu, who was covered in scratches. His heart sank. The 2 Beast Kings couldn't take down Mendu even when they worked together. Now that Blizzard wanted him to delay Mendu alone, it meant that Blizzard was going to force him to fight Mendu until both of them were injured. Blizzard would then take advantage of the situation. Boom. 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 Mendu, who had already been arranged clearly, obviously wouldn't just stand by and watch 2 Beastmaster-level existences attack a mere level 10 Black Snake. Moreover, the Black Snake was originally an ally of the Shattered Stone clan, and getting rid of Chunyan would be a great help to it. Humph! Ping Qiu snorted coldly. His glossy black fox body darted out, and stood in front of Mendu. He slowly raised his right paw, for sharp claws slowly emerged from his paw. His gaze was extremely cold. The explosive update event was cancelled. 6 updates today to make up for the missing updates from the past 2 days. 3 updates later, 50 monthly votes plus 1 update. Chapter 89. Mendu, you deal with that black fox first. This white dog can't do anything to me. Lin Yuan took the initiative to calm the restless Mendu with his mind. A strange look flashed across his blue-white vertical pupils. Blizzard's innate ability should be similar to its ability to control ice. Otherwise, it would not be able to freeze all 9 water dragons in an instant. In such a rainstorm, an existence with the innate ability to control ice would naturally have a lot of advantages. The raindrops that fell on him were the size of beans, but the ones that fell on others were sharp icicles. As expected, when Blizzard turned around and charged towards Lin Yuan, the raindrops around Lin Yuan had all condensed into sharp icicles, constantly smashing towards Lin Yuan. Although Lin Yuan dodged left and right, in such a dense rainstorm, as long as he was still within Blizzard's casting range, he would not be able to completely avoid the icicles. In a few breaths' time, Lin Yuan's body was cut into a bloody mess. A large amount of blood was squeezed out from the wounds. When it fell to the ground, it had already turned into red ice fragments. Ha, little Black Snake, you didn't expect this, did you? In such weather, this king has an absolute advantage. Blizzard maintained its charging posture, its eyes full of a proud smile. However, very quickly Blizzard, who had experienced countless battles, grew from an ordinary wolf cub to the existence of the only leader of the Winterwolf clan today, looked suspiciously at Lin Yuan. It could not help but think to itself, is this kid really so weak? Doesn't it have a protective technique? Why isn't it using it? Not good. Blizzard suddenly realized that something was wrong. It looked at the ice sculpture beside it with a frightened expression. It found that the ice sculpture was still intact, but at this moment, the ice sculpture suddenly moved, as if it had transformed into 9 real divine dragons and directly swallowed Blizzard into its stomach. When a swordsman drew his sword, it only took a moment to kill the enemy. By the time Blizzard realized that something was wrong, it had already entered Lin Yuan's best attack range. Perhaps even it did not expect that the ice sculpture it created would become a cage to imprison itself. This is where empiricism is harmful. Lin Yuan had previously displayed his talent in controlling water, but there were very few monsters who had seen him use ice. Obviously, he was not in the battle for the blood spirit. Otherwise, he would not have fallen into Lin Yuan's trap so easily. Although this attack had succeeded, Lin Yuan's eyes still had a grave expression. Blizzard's innate ability was ice manipulation. Although his surprise attack could temporarily restrain Blizzard, he could not replicate the same move that killed Chen Yan. As time passed, his control over the ice sculpture was slowly being taken away by Blizzard. The Frost Wolf, who had been through many battles, knew very well that it was safest to stay in the ice sculpture at this moment. If it rushed out rashly, it was afraid that what greeted it would not be the free air, but Lin Yuan's merciless attack. The energy in his body was rapidly depleting. Lin Yuan even felt a trace of hunger. More than half of the control over the ice sculpture had been taken away. At least for now, he could not use the feedback of the ice element to find out where Blizzard was. Even what Blizzard was doing in the ice sculpture seemed to be covered by an invisible hand. Crack. With a loud sound, the ice sculpture shattered. Blizzard, whose face was full of shock, was once again exposed to the air. It looked at Lin Yuan in a daze. For a moment, it did not know how to describe it. This black snake's fighting style and innate ability were extremely terrifying. The moment it realized that it could no longer continue to fight for control of the ice sculpture, it actually detonated the ice element that it controlled. Although it did not hurt Blizzard, it destroyed the ice sculpture that was about to fall into Blizzard's hands. This was to prevent Blizzard's trap from being used against Blizzard. Facing an opponent of this level, Blizzard's thoughts were very complicated. If one had to pick the most accurate word, it would be that it wanted to kill Lin Huang. Although it would not be like Lin Yuan's novels in his previous life, saying something like, "This child must not be left alive, or else he will become a big problem in the future." It did not stop Blizzard from having this thought. After making up its mind, Blizzard's speed towards Lin Yuan increased again. It was as if it could press Lin Yuan into the mud in the next second, and give him a good beating. However, Blizzard was not the only one who displayed its full strength. When Blizzard exposed his innate ability to control ice, Lin Yuan did not intend to continue to receive the icicles with his physical body. Instead, he mobilized the control ability around him, and brought the ice element into his control bit by bit. Although he did not do it immediately, the icicles that fell from the sky could no longer touch Lin Yuan. "Little black snake, die for this king," Blizzard roared. Its body moved a few feet horizontally as if it had teleported, and appeared directly beside Lin Yuan. Its sharp wolf claws viciously clawed at Lin Yuan's vital point. Sweet rain chill. Lin Yuan's eyes widened. He did not expect Blizzard to have such a move. Although it was not teleportation, the speed it had just displayed was not inferior to teleportation at all. After observing for a while, Lin Yuan finally relaxed. At this moment, Blizzard was panting heavily, as if it could collapse from exhaustion at any time. As long as he received this attack, there was still a chance. Lin Yuan made up his mind and quickly pulled out the system interface. He roared in his heart, "Dog system." Golden body burst. At the same time, faint golden patterns appeared on most of Lin Yuan's body. But even so, the sense of danger in Lin Yuan's heart did not dissipate. Speed and movement would bring about an increase in strength. This was the result of the scientists in his previous life. Lin Yuan did not have the right to question it. Therefore, Lin Yuan believed that Blizzard had not hesitated to enter a weakened state to teleport just now. This meant that this claw attack was not as simple as it seemed. Blood boil technique. After activating the buff, Lin Yuan barely managed to calm down. He looked at Blizzard with a hint of mockery in his eyes, as if this was a sure kill attack from Blizzard. Lin Yuan felt as if he was flying in the sky, but Lin Yuan's expression was indifferent. It was as if he was asking, "That's it?" On the other side, Mendu had also defeated Ping Qiu several times with his stone staff. Only then did he take the time to look at Lin Yuan's battle situation, and immediately became anxious. After all, Blizzard was extremely fast. No matter how good Lin Yuan was at dodging, He could at most avoid his vital point, which was his vital point, and then wait for an opportunity to counterattack. Otherwise, he could be killed by Blizzard in one hit. Chapter 90. The sharp wolf claws were almost completely stuck to Lin Yuan's face. Even though they were only a few feet apart, Lin Yuan could clearly feel the terrifying chill coming from Blizzard's wolf claws. Not dodging. Blizzard was slightly startled. Looking at the black snake in front of him, who seemed to have been scared silly, a trace of doubt flashed in his eyes. In the next moment, 6 icicles rose from the ground and pierced Blizzard's abdomen. A life for a life? You're not worthy. Killing intent flashed in Blizzard's eyes. The momentum of its wolf claws didn't decrease. It wasn't that it didn't want to, but it couldn't. It burst forth with its speed like an arrow leaving the bow. Even if its abdomen was a vital point, Blizzard had to risk getting injured to kill this black snake. Lin Yuan's blue-white vertical pupils didn't show any emotions, but the bright red color in Lin Yuan's eyes proved that his current state of mind wasn't as calm as it seemed on the surface. The Rank 2 Golden Body technique could withstand the force of the Deep Rock's bite, but could it withstand Blizzard's accelerated claw? Clang! Poochie! Almost at the same time, Blizzard's wolf claws touched Lin Yuan's forehead, but Lin Yuan's icicles also pierced Blizzard's abdomen. Large amounts of dark red blood flowed out, almost dyeing the icicles into pillars of blood. However, Lin Yuan only took 2 steps back slightly and neutralized Blizzard's claw power. This is Blizzard, who was hanging on the icicle, stared blankly at its right claw that had completely turned into stone. Its narrow eyes flashed with fear. The eyes of petrification was the famous technique of the three-eyed ape that dominated the Stoneclaw forest. Why did this black snake also know how? In the entire Stony clan, there was only one three-eyed ape that could use the eyes of petrification. It was said that the youngest of the three-eyed apes, a guy named Batu, had also inherited his father's eyes of petrification. However, his foundation had been severely damaged by the human demon slayer, and he had no hope of entering the wisdom realm in his lifetime. Naturally, he was unable to awaken the eyes of petrification. It was precisely because of the loss of the three-eyed ape's special ability that the beast kings of the 3 great clans, including Blizzard, had the idea of fighting for the position of the Stoneclaw Forest's overlord. No matter how strong Mendu was, it was not to the extent where they could not catch up. This was because in the ancient legends, the eyes of petrification was a sign of the mountain-shaking ape's bloodline returning to its ancestral roots. Once it appeared, it had the possibility of evolving into an even more powerful monster beast, and had the qualifications to step into the deeper regions of the Hungduan mountain range. Although the three-eyed ape was valiant, it was limited by its innate talent and had not stepped into the Mountain Lord realm. However, with the eyes of petrification, it was still able to move unhindered in the Stoneclaw forest. It hurts, but it can't kill me. Lin Yuan communicated with Blizzard telepathically, and a look of ridicule flashed across his eyes. In the next instant, Lin Yuan swung his snake body. His speed was unbelievably fast, and in the blink of an eye, he left behind an afterimage. His tail struck Blizzard's body, which was hanging on the ice spike, and a cold murderous intent spread out. Lin Yuan's current attack power of 14 points, in addition to 1 point of true damage, was enough to cause Blizzard a lot of trouble, even though it could not cause any fatal damage to the Wolf King, who was at the peak of the wisdom state. On the other side, when Ping Qiu saw that Blizzard was injured, a look of shock flashed across his eyes. However, it was this momentary lapse of concentration that allowed Mendu to seize the opportunity. The 100-meter-long thick stone staff ruthlessly struck Ping Qiu's back from top to bottom. Crack. Even though they were a few hundred meters away, Lin Yuan could clearly hear the sound of bones cracking. The 2 Beast Kings were unable to take down Mendu even after joining forces. After Lin Yuan intervened in this battle, the outcome of the battle was immediately decided. Whether it was Blizzard, who had both his legs broken, or Ping Qiu, who had his spine broken, it was impossible for them to even escape, let alone pose a threat to Mendu. Boom. Boom. After Mendu severely injured Ping Qiu, he did not even look at Lin Yuan's battle situation. He took 2 steps forward, covering a distance of nearly 100 meters. A huge silver-white ape body appeared beside Ping Qiu's hand, and the stone staff in his hand landed heavily on Ping Qiu's face, which was filled with regret and indignation. Splat! The black fox's head shattered, and viscous liquid splattered more than 10 meters away. Roar! Roar! Mendu placed the stone staff in his hand beside him and slapped his chest with both hands. He raised his head and let out an extremely violent roar against the rain. That was the roar of the mountain quaking apes, announcing their victory. Roar! 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 Almost at the same time, the roars of the mountain quaking apes joined together and soared into the sky. The battle between the three beast kings and Ping Qiu had ended with the death of Chen Yan and Ping Qiu, and Blizzard heavily injured. Don't kill me. I'm willing to submit to you. I will never betray you again. Blizzard's weak voice rang out slowly. Mendu was slightly taken aback. Clearly, he did not expect Blizzard to still dare to attract his attention at this time. However, he did not kill Blizzard as decisively as Ping Qiu. Instead, he shifted his gaze to Lin Yuan's face. In the world of demonic beasts, there were not so many stupid rules like humans. However, there was one thing that was indisputable. The prey belonged to whoever killed it. Even if one's combat power far exceeded that of the killer, one could not casually snatch the spoils of war from the other party. In the world of demonic beasts, such a thing could be said to be an endless hatred. Eliminate all evil. Lin Yuan glanced at Blizzard, who was lying weakly on the ground, and replied expressionlessly. Mendu grinned and picked up the stone staff beside him again. He strode towards Blizzard, who was lying on the ground. Just as the thick stone staff was about to fall, two sharp rays of cold light suddenly swept out from the side of the forest, shooting straight towards Lin Yuan's snake body. It really came. Lin Yuan glanced in the direction of the cold light. He did not act carelessly and immediately dodged. As a human in the past, he had a thorough understanding of the methods of humans. Whether it was the large net that subdued him last time, or the various hidden weapons that were dipped in various poisons, they were all weapons that humans used to deal with demonic beasts. Even a ferocious existence like Mendu would immediately lose its ability to fight once it was injured by something like anesthetics. Therefore, Lin Yuan could calmly withstand the attacks of demonic beasts. However, when it came to the attacks of humans, even if it was just a small inconspicuous trap, Lin Yuan would avoid it with the greatest respect. Humans? Stepping into the Hengduan mountain range again? I think your mountain-blocking city doesn't want to exist anymore, right? Before Lin Yuan could speak, Mendu had already stopped and coldly looked in the direction of the hidden weapon that attacked Lin Yuan. What a good psychic, Black Snake. We have underestimated you previously. In such a short period of time, you have already reached the realm of a Class 10 demonic beast. You can even rely on your Class 10 demonic beast to fight against a wisdom perception great demon without falling into a disadvantageous position. Amazing, amazing. An expert from the human side also spoke. Chapter 91. Mendo's face darkened, and he subconsciously wanted to rush over. It was already an established fact that the three-eyed ape would not live for long. If the black snake could fulfill its promise, the Bata would become the beast king of the Stoneclaw clan in the future. However, at this time, with the execution of the beast kings of the three major clans, Mendo was recognized as the king of the Stoneclaw forest. These humans from Zhanshan City did not take him, a beast king, seriously at all. Lin Yuan's 100-meter-long snake body left an afterimage as it instantly came to Mendo's side. It raised its snake tail and blocked in front of Mendo. It slowly communicated with Mendo using its mind. Don't be fooled by these cunning humans. They may have already set up a trap while we were fighting. If you rush in recklessly, you'll be the one to suffer. You're not coming over? You're smart, Black Snake. It's a pity that I've carefully prepared a trap for you. The strong man who spoke before slowly walked out of the shadows of the forest. It was the leader of the Iron Hand Society, Iron Hand, who was scared away by Mendo before. However, at this moment, there was no trace of fear in his eyes. He just looked at Mendo coldly as if he was looking at a corpse. Lin Yuan was also slightly stunned. He still remembered when they were in the forest of monsters. Mendo and Na Qin had only shown their faces for a brief moment, and the monster-slaying group, which was well-equipped and had 2 airborne realm fighters, had quickly retreated, as if they did not want to clash with Mendo at all. It had only been a few days. This leader of the Iron Hand Society looked like he did not care about Mendo at all. Lin Yuan suddenly remembered the force called Yao Ming in the war model. Iron Hand's strength did not change at all, and the Iron Hand Society was still the same as last time he saw them. The only difference was that there were a few more people in their team, but there was nothing to be concerned about. There was only one person covered in a black robe who was in the airborne realm. How much of a chance did 3 airborne realm fighters have of winning against Mendo? Even though Mendo was injured, it was not something that any Tom, Dick, or Harry could deal with. Otherwise, they would not have been able to attack Zhanshan City and force the humans to sign an agreement that forbade them from hunting in the Hengduan Mountains. The black-robed man slowly took 2 steps forward. He lowered his voice and said, "I'll deal with the black snake. You guys go and stall that monkey. Once I've mastered my divine skill, I'll take off the monkey's head. It'll be as easy as taking something out of my pocket." "That's impossible. Why don't you hold Mendo back and let us deal with the black snake?" "Patriarch Lu, didn't you say that as long as we capture this black snake, our mission would be considered complete?" "You rashly made a move and startled the entire clan, but you still want our Iron Hand Regiment to be your scapegoat?" Another airborne realm fighter from the Iron Hand Society was the first to speak, glaring coldly at the black-robed man. "Feng Tian, shut up." A green light flashed in Iron Arm's eyes as he said in a sinister tone, "You and I will work together, and the rest of the team will support us. We will take down Men's capital. If you are unwilling, you can leave now." "Captain, the airborne realm fighter named Feng Tian choked, and the rest of his words were stuck in his throat. Being a demon slayer was too lucrative. Even father and son, or even brothers, would turn against each other for the sake of the rewards after the mission was completed. However, there was one thing that was almost equivalent to an unspoken rule. That rule was to never be cannon fodder. For a force like the Demon Slayer group that was similar to a mercenary force, even if they were recruited by the Imperial Court and given enough benefits, it would still be useless. They would only follow behind the Imperial Court's army and fight battles that went smoothly. At most, they would send a few demon slayers who were good at movement techniques to join the Imperial Court's army's scouting team to investigate the movements of monsters, or carry out small-scale beheadings. The Iron Hand Regiment had been in Mountain Fence City for close to 30 years. While their captain was not someone who was afraid of death, he was definitely someone who was unwilling to be taken advantage of. But this time, the employer directly threw a person who wanted them to die, and the commander actually agreed without any hesitation. He only argued a few words, and the commander actually wanted to fall out with him? Something was wrong. Something was very wrong. Feng Tian was not the only one. Lin Yuan also realized that something was wrong with the Iron Hand Regiment. While he did not know much about the Iron Hand Regiment, when the Iron Hand Regiment's eyes flashed with a green light, it was recorded by his sense of smell. It was also at that moment that he sensed a faint trace of demonic aura from the human whose temperament had changed greatly. This guy was the so-called Demon Slayer. But what exactly was a Demon Slayer? Was it a puppet refined by a monster? Hiss. Huff. Mengdo took a deep breath and looked coldly at the black-robed man and the Iron Hand Regiment. He then turned his head to Lin Yuan and asked in a low voice, "Brother, how confident are you in dealing with that black-robed man?" "Not even a little." Lin Yuan shook his huge snake head, and an awkward look flashed in his eyes. From the black-robed man's words, he already knew the identity of the black-robed man. It was actually the Lu clan's patriarch who had been constantly targeting him. This time, he did not arrange for his subordinates to enter the Hengduan mountain range to search for him. Instead, he personally led the Iron Hand Regiment's demon-subduing master into the Stoneclaw Forest. It was obvious that he was determined to capture him. After fighting several times, although Lin Yuan did not leave any survivors, the other party was still able to pinpoint his location so accurately. This meant that this Lu clan's patriarch must have some strange means. Facing such a situation, if Lin Yuan still maintained his confidence and fought with him, it would undoubtedly be suicide. Meng Do was stunned. Lin Yuan dared to directly fight an intelligence state great demon. Other than the dove snake, Blizzard and Chen Yan were both well-known beast kings in the Stoneclaw Forest. These two existences had suffered great losses at the hands of Lin Yuan. Now, let alone the rumors that Lin Yuan had the strength to kill an intelligence state great demon. Even if it was boasted that Lin Yuan was second only to him, Meng Do would not hesitate to believe that Lin Yuan really had the strength to do so. Let alone the rumors that Lin Yuan had the strength to kill an intelligence state great demon. But at this moment, facing a tiny human hiding his head and tail, Lin Yuan actually said that he did not have the slightest confidence. Looking at Meng Do's expression that said, "Are you *king kidding me?" Lin Yuan could only smile bitterly in his heart. It was not that he had not killed an intelligence state great demon before, but the 5 heavy armor warriors he killed last time were all heavily injured by the self-explosion of the mutated blood spirit. It was just that the mutated blood spirit did not finish them off, so he was able to take advantage of the situation. Including the golden dragon saber, the cold wind ring, and the cannons from the City Lord mansion. These humans had given Lin Yuan many surprises time and time again. This time, Patriarch Lu was full of confidence and personally led the team into the Hengduan mountain range. He definitely did not think that Lin Yuan was still in the realm of a Class 7 great demon. He was most likely preparing a trump card for himself as an intelligence state great demon. Chapter 92. Don't go all out. Try to stall for time and wait for the sage and our reinforcements to arrive. Lin Yuan instructed Men Du in a low voice. Then he turned his blue-white eyes and looked at Clan Head Lu. Clan Head Lu shrugged his shoulders indifferently and said with a smile, "Black Snake, I should be thanking you. You saved the most outstanding disciple of our Lu clan's younger generation. If you were a human, I would definitely reward you handsomely. But unfortunately, you are a demonic beast. So, I can only kill you. If I let you continue to grow, you will definitely become a scourge for the human race in the future." *T. So what if I'm a demonic beast? Do demonic beasts deserve to die? Lin Yuan glanced at Clan Head Lu from the corner of his eyes. He almost couldn't suppress the anger in his heart. He had a little understanding of the structure of this world. He didn't know what the demonic beasts had done in the past, but today, the demonic beasts could only hide in places like the Hengduan Mountains and struggle at death's door. Only a few existences at the level of the Dragon Palace of the Four Seas were qualified to walk freely on the continent. The low-level demonic beasts in the demonic beast forest not only had to survive under the jaws of other demonic beasts, but they could also become prey in the eyes of the demon slayers at any time. Their fur was made into clothes and armor, their bones and claws were made into weapons, and their flesh was cooked in various ways. All the demonic beasts that died in the hands of humans didn't even have a complete corpse left. Even if the demonic beasts didn't do anything, countless demon slayers would be attracted to the Hengduan mountain range to hunt for demonic beasts. Do humans have to be high and mighty? Do demonic beasts deserve to become food in the stomachs of humans? Clan Head Lu sneered and stretched his body. He slowly took off his black robe, revealing an ashen face. He said in a strange tone, "We humans are the true rulers of this continent. You were born to be slaughtered by us humans. This is an indisputable fact. Do you think those demonic beasts in the Hengduan mountain range really fought for their own territory? Ridiculous. You are nothing but livestock raised by us humans. Now that I need your flesh, you should die in my hands. It's as simple as that." Raised livestock? Whether it was Lin Yuan or Men Du, at this moment, their faces were extremely gloomy. The Hengduan mountain range occupied the central region of the continent. If the 7 great dynasties wanted to enter the other party's territory at the fastest speed, they had to cross this boundless mountain range. Although the various races in the Hengduan mountain range were not comparable to the 4 great dragon palaces, the power of all the demonic beasts living here could easily destroy the so-called human dynasties. This human actually dared to utter such nonsense in the Hengduan mountain range? You're dead. There is no longer any need for mountain blocking city to exist. Your Lu family will also be exterminated by my gravel family. Mengdo's silver-white hair that was drenched by the rain stood up, and his eyes were bloodshot. Boom, boom, boom. Mengdo took a step forward and directly rushed towards the arrogant Lu family head, completely ignoring Lin Yuan's warning. At this moment, Mengdo was extremely angry. His heart was no longer burning with anger, but an erupting volcano. Fang Tian, do it. Iron Arms called out, and without turning his head back he charged towards Mengdo. The members of the Iron Hand Society also took off their cloaks, revealing blades that emitted a cold glint, as well as the crossbows hidden under their cloaks. Although the arrowheads were clearly made of metal, there wasn't the slightest bit of coldness that belonged to metal emanating from them. Obviously, these crossbow bolts were all coated with poison. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Bolts shot out from the crossbows one after another. The density of the bolts wasn't the slightest bit inferior to the rain falling from the vault of heaven. However, the bolts accurately avoided Steel Arms and Fang Tian, who were leading the charge, and directly rushed towards the door. Moreover, the bolts were much faster than Steel Arms and Fang Tian. Mengdo swung the stone staff in his hand, and directly formed a barrier in front of him. The crossbow bolts clanged as they hit the barrier in front of Mengdo, and fell to the ground. Die for me. Iron Arms, who was following closely behind, growled. His body suddenly expanded, and directly turned into a 3-meter-tall burly man in front of Mengdo. The clothes on his body were directly torn apart, revealing his hands that were hidden under his clothes. A pair of metal gloves instantly broke through the curtain of rain, and blasted towards Mengdo in front of him. Ridiculous. Mengdo sneered. His right hand controlled the stone staff to block the crossbow bolts, and his left hand similarly smashed out a fist. The 3-meter-tall Iron Arms might be considered a giant among humans, but in front of a 100-meter-tall demonic beast, he was still as laughable as an ant. Bang! Taisho's legs paused and then slightly bent. The ground beneath his feet immediately crumbled. At the same time, Taisho's body abruptly shot up. He actually did not attempt to dodge, but rather he directly faced Mengdo's fist. This kind of action, even if it was done by an airborne realm expert, could only be described with one word: courting death. It was not that there were no strong people among humans who had tempered their physique, and there were even some who were more tyrannical than demonic beasts. However, such existences were all in the Heaven Star realm or even higher. In other words, demonic beasts below the Heaven Star realm were invincible. Iron Arms, a mere airborne realm expert, actually wanted to meet Mengdo's fist head-on? Here. Fang Tian, who was following closely behind Iron Arms, also roared at this moment. His body strangely rotated 270 degrees, and a cold light directly shot out from his hand. That was a spear. A great spear that was 18 feet long. Although it was a great spear in the eyes of humans, in Mengdo's eyes, this great spear was not even comparable to a toothpick. Even so, Mengdo had no choice but to respond. His 150-meter-tall body suddenly shrunk, and once again returned to the size when Lin Yuan first met him. He was even shorter than a normal ape. It was also because Mengdo suddenly shrunk his body that most of the arrows, Iron Arms punches, and Fang Tian's great spear all missed. This wave of perfect dodging caused Lin Yuan to frown slightly. An incomparably violent warrior like Mengdo actually gave up on attacking and dodged. What exactly was that great spear thrown by that human just now? Demon Buster Spear? Mengdo exclaimed, and the fury in his eyes dissipated a little. Obviously, the great spear thrown by Fang Tian previously made him extremely fearful. Heh, you're quite knowledgeable. Fang Tian sneered. His feet stepped on the ground, and his body swept forward like a ghost again. Iron Arms, who was in midair, changed his attack. He grabbed the Demon Buster Spear that was shooting at him from behind. The air under his feet suddenly stagnated, and Iron Arms actually completed a wave of air borrowing force, and turned around to attack Mengdo again. Chapter 93. Iron Arm, who was wielding the Demon Buster spear, descended from the sky. His eyes were no longer clear as they were completely replaced by a green glow. Captain. Feng Tian opened his mouth and felt an unusual bitterness in his mouth. This Demon Buster spear that even the sect was wary of was actually just a standard weapon produced by the 7 great dynasties. As long as one could pay a sufficient price, one could exchange for a Demon Buster spear from a certain dynasty's military. The one in Feng Tian's hand came from a battle to exterminate demonic beasts. Nearly 7 million humans and demonic beasts had died on that battlefield. Feng Tian, who was lucky enough to survive, also received a Demon Buster spear as a reward that was better than nothing. Why was it better than nothing? Because the Demon Buster spear was very powerful. Although it was just a standard weapon, the Demon Buster spear had almost no upper limit. It was said that as long as the user was willing, even his essence, chi, and spirit could be infused into the Demon Buster spear. At the cost of his own life, he could release the strongest attack of his life. Similarly, if the energy infused into the Demon Buster spear was not enough, it would not be much stronger than an ordinary spear. Now, in order to kill Mendo, Iron Arm actually infused everything he had into the Demon Buster spear without holding back. Once this spear landed, regardless of whether Mendo would die or not, Iron Arm would not have any chance of survival. Feng Tian could not understand why his captain, who had been with him for so many years, would suddenly become a different person. This act of using his own life in exchange for Mendo's life was already beyond an employment relationship. Even if Iron Arm wanted to be family head Lu's dog, he should not be willing to do this. As Lin Yuan watched the battle between Iron Arm and Mendo, a look of shock flashed across his vertical pupils. He did not know what the Demon Buster spear was, but he could feel that the huge spear was emitting extremely terrifying energy. Even if he used his Stage 2 Golden Body technique to take it, he would be shattered on the spot. However, fear was one thing. Lin Yuan's attention was on something else. Ding! Congratulations to the host. You have eliminated the Hunting Wind and Boulder clans. You have successfully completed the second stage of the advancement mission Disposition of the Owl Snake. Completion rate is 77%. Completion evaluation is A-. Rewards are being calculated. Host has eliminated the Boulder Clan's patriarch, Chen Yan. Host has obtained 5 attribute points, Mystic Turtle Shell X1. Host has defeated Winterwolf Clan leader Blizzard. Host has gained 2 attribute points, Frost Wolf Claw X1. The host has killed a certain number of black foxes, a certain number of frost wolves, and a certain number of black tortoises. Obtained 11 attribute points. Settlement complete. The host has received a total of 18 attribute points and 2 materials, already in the resource warehouse. Ding! Congratulations to host for obtaining victory in the Stoneclaw Forest battle. You have gained 300 war points. The war treasury has now been opened. Host can enter the war treasury at any time to exchange war points for items. Ding! Congratulations to the host for completing the second stage of the promotion mission. The final stage of the promotion mission is now unlocked. Name: Owlserpent's Form Stage 3, Throne of Corpses. Description: you are now one of the strongest monsters in the Stoneclaw Forest. The Frost Wolf, Black Fox, and Black Tortoise clans have all bowed down to you. As long as you are willing, you can rise to the top at any time and become the new king of the Stoneclaw Forest. However, how can a true king of beasts only have the corpses of monsters under him? Quest requirements: personally kill Yao Ming, Patriarch Lu, and a member of the Iron Hand Society. Killing one of the 3 is considered to have completed the quest. Mission reward: based on the degree of completion failure penalty, the system will automatically strip the host of the rights to evolve. A series of system notifications kept ringing in Lin Yuan's mind. In just a few breaths of time, Lin Yuan's blue-white vertical pupils flashed with a cold light. Glancing at his attribute panel, he realized that there was a huge number of 21 behind his attribute points. The system did not give an answer for the time being about how many attribute points were needed to advance from a level 10 monster beast to a wisdom state monster beast, but Lin Yuan already had a general idea. It should hover between 20 and 50 points. That is to say, It is very likely that Lin Yuan will become a real wisdom state monster beast when all his attributes exceed 100 points. System, can I add points now? Lin Yuan took a deep breath and asked tentatively. The host can add points after completing the second phase of the quest. However, the points cannot exceed grade 1 of the intelligent perception realm. Even if the points reach the requirements before completing the final phase, the host cannot evolve into an intelligent perception monster. The system's voice slowly sounded. At the end, it added a sentence full of evil humor. Simply put, the host can have the strength of grade 1 of the intelligent perception realm at most. However, after the attribute points reach the requirements, the host cannot become stronger. Furthermore, the host cannot enjoy the benefits of healing his injuries after advancing. Lin Yuan sneered and ignored the system's evil humor. Instead, he silently used the system to add points. Host, Lin Yuan status. Sky-piercing black python. In the process of transforming into a flood dragon. Realm. 10 out of 10 innate skills. 1. Distinguish the enemy's location based on smell, cannot advance. 2. Create an accurate image of a 500-meter radius around the body based on smell. 0/103. Water/ice control. 0/104. Blood sacrifice wish technique. Make a wish using one's own blood or another creature's blood. Can be replaced by attribute points as a sacrifice. Whether the wish is fulfilled or not depends on the strength of the wish and the quality of the sacrifice. 5. Flood dragon snake scale armor. When the scale armor is in good condition, it can provide the host with a 20% increase in defense. Speed, 24 plus 1 defense, 23 plus 6. 6 attack, 25 plus 1 allocable points. 0 martial arts. Golden body secrets, 70 out of 100 skills. 1. Death coil, 145 of 300. 2. Poison of poison wine, 78/303. Tail strike, 25 out of 104. Blood boil technique, 2 out of 105. All things have spirit, can be used to communicate with other creatures. Cannot advance. Items. Damaged light feather can be repaired. Eye of petrification name. Light feather, already damaged effect. Speed +1 upon equipping. Additional skill. Light feather wind skill. Light feather wind. When you fall from a high place, you can glide for a short period of time. Note. The cost of repairing an item is 10 attribute points. Name. Eye of petrification effect. No equipment effects. Additional skills. Sharp perception. Light of petrification skills. 1. Sharp perception. You who have a third eye, have vision and senses that normal people can't reach. 2. Light of petrification. Use demonic chi to activate the Eye of Petrification. It can shoot out a ray of light that can petrify living creatures. A total of 21 attribute points, 10 points in speed and 11 points in attack. After distributing them, all of Lin Yuan's attributes had exceeded 20 points. Every single one of them had reached the peak of a rank 10 demonic beast. With the addition of the Flood Dragon scale armor, Lin Yuan's defense had even exceeded this limit. Although he was quite satisfied with his growth, Lin Yuan also discovered a very important problem. No matter how many times he used the water/ice control innate skill, no matter what kind of opponent he faced, it had never increased in proficiency. You're tuning in to the Dreamy Chapters YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.